Oh, we're having some technical difficulties, Nina. Can you put there we go. All right, welcome to Career Launch Live. We're very excited to have everybody on. There we go. This is my co-host. I'm Catherine McCord. This is my co-host, Foster Williams.
Good morning, everybody. And Catherine, you got to point on the other side. Point on the other side. And you'll point towards me.
I know. It's backwards. I have to keep remembering that. It's over there. Got to point the opposite because of the camera.
Florida to Texas. Oh my goodness.
I know. Welcome, everybody. We're so excited. We have a great show, some terrific guests. We have a psychology segment coming up. We have a baritone coming on to sing for us later on the show. We're going to have a guided meditation, and we're going to have a lot of great career advice for you. Um, a lot of superb guests coming on with some really interesting topics about career pivots, what it's really like in the job market, how COVID is going to be affecting us since now we're having shutdowns again in certain areas. So we're going to address all of those things and more, interview tips and all of that. If you have any questions, please feel free to post them in the comments. We will be reading them as we go along. Foster is an awesome guest. He runs Search for You, which is really exciting. I'll let him tell you about that in just a minute. He's also a host on the Who You Know show with Trevor Houston, who is going to be on later today. He's actually our second guest. And great energy, really great energy person. I really, really like him. and then as for me, just that you know a little bit about me, I run Titan Management, which is a career. It's a kind of a recruiting platform and consulting firm. And then, of course, we have Career Launch Live. We're going to also have our one of our co-founders for Career Launch Live later on today, Joel Knapp. He's going to be talking about what it's like to pivot via industry. And he's had a few really interesting pivots, so we're going to go into that. So, Foster, let's start off with, how are you doing today with all of this craziness and shutdowns happening again in DFW? How are you doing today, and how is it going with Search for You?
I am COVID free. You guys see this face? That's what a COVID free face looks like.
Yeah, so, right? Thank God.
We're doing good here in DFW, and there's some folks from DFW, I'm sure, that are with us right now. We are looking at going into the triple digits of temperature, and it's kind of brutal here in Texas when we get above 100 degrees. I think it's probably brutal anywhere you get above 100 degrees. But we're ready to go. We have, guys, I am the founder of the Career Search Network, and the website that serves the Career Search Network is Search for You, SEARCH, the number 4, the letter U, INC.com. It is a job posting site. It is also kind of Graham Central Station for a lot of activity that we have going on here in Dallas-Fort Worth. And there are job posting. There's people that have landed jobs, and their stories are there. Anything that will add some value or some encouragement to job seekers that are looking. There are jobs posted all over the United States, and we have an international job section as well, because there's some international recruiters that I want to connect with Catherine as we go forward with things, and we can cover this whole planet, you know.
Oh, and yes, so, and because there's a need everywhere. And by the way, folks, there are jobs posted on our site. It's scrolling along the bottom here of the screen, careerlaunch2020.com. We have Project Help You Grow integrated. We have several other really interesting opportunities, as well as my own personal listings. And so definitely check those out, and check out Foster's site, Search for You. There's some really, really good opportunities on there as well. Also, connect to Foster and I on LinkedIn.
Yes, please,
we both love to connect to people. We're glad to help you out any way that we can in your search, making introductions, those types of things. So, Foster, let's start with our favorite topic, you and I. And we have a lot of fun discussions about this overcoming obstacles in the job search, right? And right now, especially with COVID. So let's start with, what are you seeing that's different with COVID being around in terms of the job search?
Well, COVID, guys, is a step process. Now, when we first started, everybody was scared. But you know what we said in corporate America? Basically, we said, okay, We are not going to just shut down because the government is everybody's afraid. We have to keep going. So we have to figure out how it looks like for us to keep going. One of the things that we instituted was Zoom, and we're not on Zoom today, but everybody. I think everybody knows Zoom that I'm talking about. And
Yep.
so now at this particular stage of COVID, guys, we seem to be the rubber band seems to be snapping back now. There's a lot of job postings. There are a lot of landings, especially here in DFW. I'm here in Dallas Fort Worth, and as far as I know, we are the hugest job search network here, and
Right.
there's more things going on, and I want to encourage you guys to go to careerdfw.com and careerusa.com. My buddy Jeff Morris created those websites so that we can navigate the national scene as well as what's going on here in Dallas. We have so many companies that are here in Dallas. We like to share the opportunities that those companies have in your neck of the woods, wherever you live. So really, that's one thing that we do with Search for You.
Right.
We just try to connect. It's real simple because we meet on Zoom now, but we were pre-COVID. We were meeting in person, and we had some job seeker networking groups that had 400 people weekly.
Oh, nice.
Yeah,
Nice.
we did.
And I don't feel like, a lot of people are feeling like there are not jobs out there. I don't think that's correct. There are definitely jobs.
The case, yeah.
And it's just, but you do have to be, I will say this, you do have to be creative with how you're searching right now, right? It's definitely, it's definitely a different search process. So what's your advice for people to search effectively right now with COVID going on?
Well, guys, we've got the online everything. You guys are used to seeing job postings and stuff. But here's number two. There's a 1-2 punch in this job search thing that works best for us. Network, network, network. Now, guys, networking to me is very, very easy. Catherine and I have been recruiters our whole career, and we're used to connecting with people. And you can tell what kind of personalities that Catherine and I have. We're such introverts,
Oh yeah, very shy, very, very shy people.
Yeah. So we meet you, we connect with you on LinkedIn. We want to know, Catherine and I and others. There are plenty of others, guys. We want to know who you are. Not only do we want to know what it is that you do so we can connect you with somebody, but we want to know how you got there. We got all kinds of questions to ask. And you know what? These companies are going to be asking the same thing on interviews, guys. Now, in this process, we will learn how we need to, did I say need to, Catherine?
You did.
We've got to tell these companies on our resumes, guys. We're still doing resumes. Now we're augmenting resumes. Trevor Houston's going to be talking to you guys about some video and different ways that we can augment those resumes to get the attention of the people that we're trying to get attention to. If we can talk to them, we might be able to convince them that, hey, you want to bring me on your team, you want to hire me. And you know what, guys? Corporate America's going to get mad at me. The money is still out there, you guys.
Yes. Don't let people shortchange you on salaries right now. Do not accept that. That's some nonsense. Let me tell you, I've seen definitely a lot of that. By the way, we had a comment from Sandra Thomas. Welcome, Sandra. We're glad to have you on. And saying she's definitely working on being creative in her job search. What that looks like right now, we're going to definitely stay tuned for Trevor Houston's section. Chandra, you're going to you're going to learn a lot. And also be sure that you're showing your unique value, right? We talked about that yesterday in Foster's group. Which one was that? Frisco Connect?
Yeah,
Frisco Connect. We did.
Catherine
and
was our speaker.
And I enjoyed it. By the way, that was a great group. I really enjoyed that group of people. And you have to be able to show your unique value proposition, right? This is something that both Foster and I have really been preaching a lot lately, right? Bring out your personality in your resume. Show who you are. And what that means is taking the time to not only put on the basic meat and potatoes, right? But to really show what made you unique. So talk about your accomplishments and make those quantifiable. So put specific numbers, put specific examples of how what you did specifically helped the company grow. And when you're targeting a specific type of position, of course, you have to make sure that certain keywords are there and all that. We'll talk about that a little bit later. But you also have to make sure that you're showing why you're different. Okay. People like Foster and I and HR professionals, we get so many resumes every day. It would just blow your mind. We read them over and over and over and over again. What makes you stand out? Foster's laughing at me. What makes you stand out is showing off, basically. This is a sales opportunity. All right. And if you're not a sales professional, that's fine. You don't have to be. All you have to do is sit down and think about what makes you excited, what lights you up, and make that come through in your resume. We can get a little bit more specific into that if any of you like, but that's extremely important. Don't just put the meat and potatoes. Oh, and also, guys, I've been seeing a lot of this lately. Don't talk in paragraphs on your resume. Okay, we're not trying to read a book when we're reading your resume. All right, shorten that stuff down a little bit for us. Put bullets and be specific, and put the things at the top that are the most exciting to you. All right, because it's going to be the most exciting to us too. Would you agree with that, Foster?
I would totally agree with that one.
Yeah. Okay. And by the way, so Amber says, there's been a lot of pressure to accept anything, even if it's not an appropriate range for the role, and that people are trying to rip people off right now with salaries. I completely agree with that. That's been happening. It's a bunch of nonsense. It's something that neither Foster or I want any part of.
Yeah.
in our business, it's ridiculous.
I'm sorry, Catherine. Remember, guys, who is in charge of how much money we go to work for?
Yeah.
Who's in charge of that? Only us.
That's right.
So we want to be, now we've got to be sensible with it. We've got to know our stuff. Call Foster, call Catherine. Let's talk about that kind of thing. But, hey, we do not go to work to go to work because we're scared for $30,000, $40,000 less salary than what we had before. We don't go to work so that we can't pay our bills. We go to work so we can pay our bills and we can feed our family and we can go to the amusement park.
Right. Oh, and Tracy is asking, is Frisco Connect online, or is it a meeting in person? It used to be in person, but Foster, how can they join Frisco Connect?
I would love to, Tracy. I'd love to share that link with you. We meet on Zoom. We meet first and third Tuesdays of every month. There's usually just short of 100 of us on. Yesterday, we, for some crazy reason, and we didn't have as many as we usually do. But
still a good group, though.
Yeah, it
really
was
good
very,
group.
very good. It's fun, guys. I invite speakers that have a personality like Catherine. I think Catherine's number one. I'm going to try to have her come back as much as I can. But
I loved that group.
Yeah, when you get together with people, guys, you'll be surprised what comes up. But
connect with Foster on LinkedIn, and he will share that link with you so that you can join them. It's a wonderful group. There's some really interesting, very influential people on that group. So Amber asked the question, what if the things at the top of your resume are more relevant to the role you're applying to, but not necessarily the most recent? You don't want to appear to have gaps, right? Okay. First of all, right now during COVID, gaps are understood. All right, we're gonna put that right on out there. First of all, gaps are understood. You can also structure your resume so that you put kind of some career highlights at the top, and you don't want to list like 9 or 10 things. That's a bit ridiculous. But put the top 3 or 4 really awesome things that you've done in bullet points right at the top of your resume. Just like, and you can even label the section career highlights. Okay, and then you go through and do the sequential jobs, because you're right. You don't want to hodgepodge your jobs where they're all out of order. That's confusing. So put those career highlights at the top and then go through at the bottom and kind of, or not the bottom, but in the employment section, and just list them chronologically and then kind of specify what you did at each one.
Mm-hmm. We like the reverse chronological resume, guys. Your latest job at the top and then progressing down. I personally, now there are some skill positions that a functional resume would be good for, but I don't suggest that for the majority of us folks that are out here in the professional corporate world.
Right. Right. Absolutely. And I think too, and people have this idea that you need to keep your resume to a certain number of pages, all of this. Don't worry so much about that. It just make sure you get everything on there, but don't write a book either. Okay.
Yeah.
And keep it to about no more than about 5 bullet points per job, kind of, and be specific. Don't say generic things like, I was the manager of a department and I had to, what's some of that crazy stuff I'm always saying? I always say I was a manager and I lifted my employees up. I keep seeing that statement and I'm like, okay, that's great, but how did you do that?
We call it fluff. Guys, do this. Now, it's going to take a little bit of time, but for the right job, you're going to get excited about some jobs that you see posted. And you know why you get excited? Because you're a good fit for it and you are. So take your time, read about that company, understand what it is that they do. Then look at that job description and see what they're asking for. That's what Catherine and I are suggesting that you guys talk about, the very things that they're looking to hire. Guide them through it. My mom used to say, son, when you tell somebody something, then make application of that. And what she meant was prove it to them, show them.
Yes. And that's what I was talking about, those numbers and those specific examples. And guys, if you need help with that, contact Foster and I on LinkedIn. Absolutely. And again, there's still people asking about Frisco Connect. Just connect with Foster on LinkedIn. He will send you all the information and provide you with the links. And they're dropping our links in the comments right now, so you can just click on that and connect with us. Also, we had a question from Ellen O'Brien, and I really like this question, Ellen. Thank you so much for asking it. I have been searching for a job since I was laid off in 2017. How do I get past long gaps on my resume? I'm gonna let you start with that one, Foster.
Okay. Ellen, right? Is that Ellen that
yes,
asked that question?
Ellen. Yeah.
Good morning, Ellen. Make sure and link in with me, Ellen. They call me a net weaver. And so that Catherine and other people will say, Foster knows everybody. No, I don't. But when you look at it, you'll be surprised. This network that I'm talking about, guys, is 20 years old. I hesitate to say what the number of people. It's way in the thousands of people here in DFW and all over the place that have landed a job. And they are willing to pay it forward by helping us with their company that they work in. So if you see an opportunity in that company. So let me get to Ellen to your question. The things I would suggest strongly that you volunteer, and you can put those volunteer things that you do. You might help an organization, a networking organization, a number of things that you can volunteer. Now, if you can volunteer to do what it is that you do, if you're an IT person, you might want to volunteer at your church or some group that you're a part of and hook up all the computers for them and all that sort of thing. That is relevance. Now, Catherine and I spent a long time yesterday talking about relevance. We want these companies to know that we are experts in our field, and our vertical is what we like to say in recruiting. And if you can do that, guys, people will want to talk to you. They'll pull you off LinkedIn. They'll pull you off chats, all sorts of things. Put your 2 cents in some of these chats on LinkedIn.
And Ellen, first of all, Ellen, if you could comment what it is specifically that you do, that would be really helpful so that we can give some kind of specific advice. I'd be very glad to do that. But I will tell you guys a few tips that really work very well, especially right now with COVID, when everybody is there's so many extra people in the job market, right? The candidate market is saturated. That's just the reality. So you're going to have to, you're going to have to really stand out. Okay. So what you want to do is do things like go on podcasts. The Who You Know Job Networking Show, if you're in the DFW area, is a great one. People have been hired right out of the comments. And that's the one that Foster's also host on.
You guys, anybody all over the world.
Come on in. Come on. It's a great show. I've been on it myself. I really enjoy it. There are other podcasts you can get on, because here's what happens. When people see you on a podcast or on a show, they automatically view you as an expert. Okay. So that gives you credibility. All right. And it gives you an opportunity to showcase your knowledge and all of that. So use that type of thing to get out of your slump. Really and truly, with a gap like 3 years, I want to be real honest. That's going to be a little harder to overcome. So here are the steps that I would recommend. get a couple of certifications. By the way, we're going to be talking in a little bit about how you can get a Scrum Master or Agile certification. We're doing some scholarships, guys. Going to hook you up with some free certifications. So stay tuned to that. But get yourself a couple of certifications that are relevant to what you want to do. Okay, do some volunteer work, like Foster said. That was a great recommendation. Doesn't have to be much, but do something. And network, and then go on shows. And network can be on LinkedIn. If you're shy, that's fine. Okay, get on LinkedIn, message people, get on some Facebook groups, message people. That way, it's a little bit more at your convenience and in your space, and that's fine. But definitely do those things, and then get out there and be on podcasts. 3 years is going to be a little tough to overcome, but you can do it. It has to be confidence, and it's a matter of finding the right company. I would also target startups. They're really good for hiring people with talent, not so much number of years of experience, right? So I would really maybe target some startups, and definitely connect with us. We'd be glad to share that information with you. Alma said, can we get those websites you mentioned? Okay, yeah. So Alma, Nina is posting some links for you so that you can get to the other sites and the other events that we have going on. So on that line, Foster, so we're talking about people that have gaps in employment.
Right.
And again, right now in COVID, that's going to be expected to a certain extent, but only to a certain extent, right? And what can you be doing? So what would you recommend to people to be doing to keep themselves sharp during this time and to keep themselves relevant?
We have a strong market of companies that help us get certifications. And you want to use those gaps as a gap filler. You want to use your time in certifications. Maybe you decide, if you're a project manager, maybe you decide that you are going to want to get your PMP. We know that it's a process of time to get a PMP. And during that time, guys, put it down as time, log it in. And then, of course, when you get your certification, oh my goodness, you want to brag that to everybody, especially those positions that say, there are other hiring managers out there that have PMPs, and they want to hire people with a PMP because they put their time in on it too. Not all require PMPs, but when it is required, guys, look and see if it's a requirement or a nice to have. I'm going to let Catherine talk a little bit about the nice to have part of job postings.
All right. He knows this is one of my favorite topics, and I just did a big post about it on LinkedIn. So people, while you are looking for a job, there is a rule that you should always follow. All right. So when you're looking at a job description, there is going to be the list of requirements, and sometimes they'll separate the nice to haves, but sometimes everything's under requirements. Here's how you know it's important. Is it at the top of the list? Is it repeated somewhere in the job description? Is it bolded? Is it underlined? Something like that. So those are the must-haves, no negotiable. Also, if they use the word must-have in there, it's not negotiable. Don't even apply if you don't have it. Okay, don't waste your time. And it doesn't matter what your opinion is or my opinion is about whether or not that should be a must-have. It's a must-have. Okay. So don't apply if you don't meet 75% of the overall job qualifications and 100% of the must-haves. Okay, there's no point in wasting your time with that. So, and on the nice to haves, you still want to meet at least a couple of those and meet them pretty well. Okay.
Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah, it's okay. So Amber asked, what if funds are limited for some of the pricey certifications? All right. I got some suggestions for you there, because I will tell you, I am frugal. Okay. So I am always looking for that bargain. You have asked the right person, Amber, and Foster too. I'm going to let him chime in on this in just a sec. So what I'm going to tell you about that, Amber, is you, first of all, find some of the free ones. There are companies offering free ones right now. Okay. Not just on LinkedIn. So look for advertisements for free certifications. Follow certain certification companies on LinkedIn, because they will post when they're offering free certifications. Get on Facebook and make some of the things that you follow different educational type scenarios that will make those advertisements pop up to you. But look for those free ones. There are free PMPs, HR certifications, all that. Allison Learning is one that you can use. Udemy, there's a whole bunch of different, depending on your industry, there's a whole bunch of different resources, but even big organizations like Salesforce right now are doing things to help people out. And also, again, tune in, because if you're into certain fields, we'd be glad to help you get some of your certifications, because we're going to be offering those scholarships here on the show. Alma said she's focusing on cybersecurity. That's a cool field, by the way. And I love to see a woman in that field.
Yeah, I like cybersecurity.
I do. And I some of the coolest people I ever talked to.
I've got a secret clearance.
Woo, exactly. Ooh, that's cool.
Yeah, I was in aerospace. I was a NASA guy for a while.
Right.
I still am. So anyway.
Oh, and so cybersecurity. All right, Alma, you want some advice as to where to look. First of all, if you're looking for any additional certifications in your field, Scrum Master, which by the way is one of the ones that we're going to be offering, that's going to be huge. PMP is going to be another big one that you might start to see, but Scrum is going to be a big one. For security, cybersecurity, focus on government jobs right now and focus on the banks. Okay, those guys are always hiring security. Now cybersecurity. Now they can be hard to get through. They're a little ridiculous interview process. So I would recommend finding on LinkedIn. Yeah. Get on LinkedIn and try to connect. Get on Facebook, stalk these people. Seriously, get on there, find one of the people that's doing the hiring for these roles, and make a connection with them. Because let me tell you, those people constantly hire, and so does the government. I know, because that's how I started my career, was recruiting for that type of thing.
Okay, we got to talk about that. Guys, I want to add one. Can I add one, Catherine?
Oh yes, please do. Please do. Chime on in here.
So, guys, and not just here in DFW, because we're so saturated with help here, all over the United States, you guys connect with your workforce solution centers there. Now, here's why. Because there are a number of government programs that will fund some of these expensive costs that you have for some of these certifications. Now, we've got WIOA, and I can't remember what the deal is with it, what it all stands for, but WIOA is all over the United States. So guys, Computer Minds here, other companies that specialize in training, a lot of these people, especially if you tell them that you're a part of the Career Search Network, which you are, because you are now, you're talking to me and Catherine, you're part of the CSN.
That's right. That's right.
Everybody in the CSN, except people like me and other helpers, are job seekers. We ain't got no job. We ain't got no money. So, tell them, hey, are there grants, programs around? And they know of those programs.
Right.
They openly advertise for these programs here in DFW. Now, I don't know if they do elsewhere. I would imagine they do, because the government has funded a lot of money to help us get these certifications so that we can get back to work.
100%. And so definitely check those out. For our scholarships, what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to email me, and I will send you the opportunity to log in and win. We're going to actually do the drawings on the 25th. There's going to be 5 Scrum Master, Agile Scrum Master certifications given away. These will be internationally accredited certifications. Okay, so not just good in this country, it's good for any job that you want to do. All right. So what you're going to want to do is email me. My email is kind of long, or you can connect with me on LinkedIn. That also works. Nina, if you could, that's our tech lady, by the way. If you could drop my LinkedIn one more time, connect with me on LinkedIn and private message me. You can also email me at kmccord. So look at my spelling of my name there on the screen. So kmccord at titanmanagementusa.com. Again, that's kmccord at titanmanagementusa.com. Or connect with me on LinkedIn and say, hey, I really want one of those scholarships, and I'll send you the way to enter it, and we'll go from there.
Absolutely. I don't want to tell you guys how long I've been recruiting, or Catherine either. But guys, there have been a number of observations that we've made in our time, and we will be more than glad to share that with you. Now, with people like Catherine and I, because we have sit in the hiring seat, guys, when you talk with us about what it is that you're looking for, we're going to automatically know people that you need to connect with. We're going to know companies and things like that. I want you to be aware of a tool called Reference USA. It's a government site that I guess every company has to have a number according to what it is that they do. Now I'm trying to think of the number. My brain's going out on me here all of a sudden. But but it is a SIOC, something like that number. And if a company does a certain thing like IBM, IBM is in computer sales and computer manufacturing and all that stuff, it will tell you a number of other companies because they're in that same classification. A Reference USA will give you guys some target companies that you did not know even existed. Now, why is Foster saying that? Because if you do a certain thing for your company and you find another company that does the same thing as your company, guess what? If they have a need, it's something that you already know about, and you have an advantage because you're already come out of the area of expertise. You've already been in that field. And for some reason, we in corporate America have a little bit, we're overdoing that a little bit. There are some positions like accounting and other basic positions that you can do it in the medical arena. You can do it, for an IBM. You can do it for anything, and you don't necessarily have to have experience in the manufacturing world or the healthcare arena or something like that. But when you do, if you do, you definitely want to highlight that.
100%. And to address a few of the questions here, if there are required security clearances, you're not going to get around that. Okay, you're going to have to get those security clearances. Now there are some jobs, and they will state this. They'll state that they're willing to help you get those security clearances. The other thing that you can do is pursue them on your own. There are certain security clearances that you can pursue on your own. Not all of them. A lot of the ones required for government jobs, you're just going to have to wait until you have a reason to have it. Okay. Unfortunately, that's just the way that it is. In terms of knowing how, and by the way, the scholarships are available to international people as well. So if you are not in the US, if you're in Canada, Mexico, India, wherever you are, first of all, thank you for tuning in. And we have a show specifically geared towards you coming up on the 22nd. But yes, those scholarships are available to anyone, anywhere in the world. That's one of the reasons that we're so excited about them, because we can offer them to everybody that might be viewing. Alma, to circle back to you again. And by the way, I love how active you are, Alma. Thank you for participating so much.
Yeah, very much.
Definitely connect with us. I definitely want to chat with you. How you can get in front of those decision makers on LinkedIn and how you can identify them. All right. So a few things here. So one of the things that you can do is just search human resources and put that in quotation marks. Okay. And put "and" in all capital letters in your search bar, and then put the company name in quotation marks. Okay. And that will pull up the human resources people. You can do the same thing with recruiter and all those different titles. That will pull those people up. That's who you connect to. That's how you reach out to them. The other thing that you can do, and a lot of people don't know this, is connect to the marketing staff, okay? Because they're the ones posting a lot of these jobs, and they can usually tell you who the right person is to get in touch with, because their whole job is to get people coming, whatever that looks like, right? Yeah. Whether it's clients or anything else. Get in front of those marketing people, and you can at least find out who the proper contact is. Sometimes you can get an email. Also, bigger companies will post email directories, okay? Get on there, get their direct email, and send them an email with an introduction and go, "Hey, this is me,"
Yeah.
and get to know them that way. That's really, really important to just kind of take that time to do that research and all of that. So one thing too, on the same subject that I really, really want to address, and Foster and I talked about this yesterday at Frisco Connect, right? So while you are reaching out to people and you are making connections with them and you are going through a job interview process, do not become a bugaboo. Okay? If you don't know what that means, that's an old song, not really old, but it's older song about being annoying, right? Don't be annoying. All right. When people are busy and all this kind of thing, give them some time. Do not email somebody that's a new contact, meaning that you haven't actually spoken with them yet more than once a week. Okay. And send different types of emails, and don't send anything that sounds like you're annoyed. Okay. Just make sure that you're sending fresh content each time that you contact them if you're trying to get them to respond to you initially. Now, if you are already in the interview process, right? 72 hours is the increment that you want to go to, unless they've told you it's going to be a week or two. Then wait and contact them in about 10 days. If that's, so kind of go in the middle. If they give you a range, kind of go in the middle of that to contact them. But in general, 72 hours. You do not want to contact them every day. That's very annoying. Don't do that. Yeah, it is. And especially now, a lot of recruiters will be a little bit more understanding with you. HR people, you got to remember they have other things to do too. They're not just doing hiring, okay? And hiring managers, oh Lord, it's not even most of their job, okay? So you've definitely got to take into consideration the other side of the table. Another thing to remember right now, folks, if you're furloughed or you're laid off, guess what's happening to HR people? The same thing. So that person that might have been your contact before may not have a job anymore either, or they might be furloughed. So don't get too frustrated if it's taking you a little bit of time to kind of get through and get those, that momentum going. One thing that is very good to do is to connect to a lot of recruiters like Foster and I, a lot of people that have podcasts. And there's some great ones out there, by the way. Look up Casey Haston, Craig Fisher, who's going to be on the show later today. Anna Morgan, she's going to be on later today. She's got a show of her own. She's fantastic and really great to know. And some of the anybody that's on this show, basically, connect to them. All the guys on the Who You Know show and all of that, they're fantastic. Definitely connect to these people. These guys are great resources. They know what they're doing. And even if they don't have an open job for you, they'll help you out. I also know a few great recruiters out there across the country. So if you want just that kind of relationship, contact me, tell me what you do, where you're located, kind of what your requirements are, and I will find somebody that's a good resource for you. Okay. I have no problem doing that. And that one thing to consider too, when connecting with recruiters, we may not always have time to hop on the phone with you. Okay. We work on the phone all day long.
My goodness. I need to swallow my phone.
I know. I hate the phone. I one day when I retire, the phone's going in the pool. That's what's going to happen. But just so keep in mind, definitely connect with us and message us. But we may not have time to do a call with you. It doesn't mean that we don't care. We will circle back to you. We will help you. We do care. But this is how we communicate in terms of, answering a lot of questions and things like that. Right. Get in the networking groups, that kind of thing with us. We're always glad to help you. Even if we can't hop on the phone with you, we are here to help you out.
Absolutely. That's all that I do. Guys, I avail myself. Now, to me, this is a little silly, but I understand. On my LinkedIn profile, I got all my contact information. Call me. My phone number, all of that stuff is there. If you leave me a message, and I do get a lot, I will eventually get back to you. Now, it will probably only be a matter of 24 hours,
Right.
A lot of people don't, I guess, do we live in a country where people feel like people don't care? Well, you know what? These two do.
These two do.
No, the other way.
We're doing it backwards again. Here we go. This way. We do.
Right she cares. And now I'm going to ask you guys, I'm going to appeal to your common sense a little bit here. When you're talking to somebody, guys, it's kind of easy to tell if that person actually cares about what they're doing. We get so many people trying to get in our back pocket. We get so many people that are trying to be smart and they're trying to convince us that they know all this stuff. But we can tell when they really care. And those are the people that you want to connect with. Those are the people that you want to get down in the weeds with questions and such, like we're doing right now.
Right. Absolutely. And we had a question real quick about the Scrum Master certifications. That can benefit you in a variety of industries. That's kind of a tough question to answer. Anything IT, project managers, certain management level, executive level. I would suggest doing a little bit of research and seeing if it's something relevant to your field. And if it is, definitely, because it's kind of one of the things that can be applicable. It's kind of like a PMP certification, right? It can be applicable in a lot of different ways. What the Agile methodology is basically a way to stay organized as a company and as a group. And the Scrum Masters, right? Yeah, it's all about organization. And the Scrum Master is the one that runs all that. So that's what it is. So kind of look into it. see if it's a good fit for your field in that. But we'd definitely be glad to help you out if it is. What it says, what certifications do we feel are useful in communications or marketing industries that could set people apart? Ooh, that's a good one. All right, Foster, do you have any suggestions for certifications or anything like that that could set people apart in marketing?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Guys, for whatever it is that we do, we need to know what those certifications are in our area of expertise. You have got to take charge of your job search in that way. Now, how do you do that? On LinkedIn, when you connect with some of the people, look at some of the certifications that these people are involved with. These people that do the same thing are very close to what you do. Find out what those things are. Guys, utilize your local workforce solution centers. You'll be surprised who is there. If they don't have the answer, you know what they'll do? Same thing me and Catherine do. I don't know, but you need to talk to Catherine. Oh, I don't know.
It's so true.
That is called networking, guys.
Yes.
That's what it is. Networking is real easy. All we do is talk and eat barbecue. Oh,
that's
did I
it.
say that? Oh.
It's true. That's
I'm
true.
branded for barbecue. We're in Texas. Come on now.
Oh, I know. I miss my good barbecue too. Trust me.
I know you do.
I make it though. I make good ribs, just so that y'all all know. I make really good ribs. So, so what I'll tell you too, specifically in the marketing field, look for first of all, Google is a great search. Look up top certifications for, and then put a title in 2020 and specify the year, because otherwise you'll get some crazy old results. The other thing that I will tell you, some things that I've seen that people really want to see, get certifications in the newer technologies. Okay, so look up, or I'm sure you already know what the most new technologies are. Get certifications in those. Anything leadership related goes very, very well. Also in marketing, there are marketing strategy certifications that you can get. Those are spectacular, and they go a long way. Catherine? Marketing strategies.
You know what? I just thought of something. Oh my God. He had a brain.
And event management. Event management. I got to throw that out there before I forget.
Yeah. Guys, when you are looking at job postings, when postings are calling for certain certifications, and you see it more than once, you see it, oh my God, I'm running into the certification again. Wouldn't you think that you might want to look into some of those certifications if they're already asking for it?
And that, yes. Look on the job postings. That's another huge one. Yes, absolutely. But yeah, and do things. If you have a career goal, somewhere that you want to be in 5 or 10 years, get certifications for that too. That looks really good to a company. But for marketing, event management, marketing strategy certifications, and then anything that you're seeing on job postings, to Foster's point.
In healthcare, you guys got so many acronyms in healthcare. I want to run out the door. Oh my goodness. Check that out. According to what you do in healthcare, check out what might give you a leg up in the job search.
Right. And I will tell you to never get complacent, never stick to just what your company is doing. People, while you're working, pay attention to what's going on in your industry. Is there some new technology that's come out that you've heard of? Is there some new system? Is there some new way of doing things? Get a certification in it, or get on YouTube and learn about it. Know what's going on, because when you get to that job search, all of a sudden it's going to be, oh my gosh, the way my company did it was like a dinosaur, and now my skills are not relevant. I see that all the time. So definitely pay attention even while you're in your current position. Absolutely. And I think too, another important thing to remember is, and I want to touch on real quick before we welcome our first guest, Anna Morgan. Super excited to have her on. She's got some really interesting things to say to us today. I want you to keep the energy in your job search, okay? And there's a lot of different ways to do that. I will tell you some great people to connect to if you're looking for that, and if you're looking for some creative ways to put yourself out there. Dan Irvin. And his last name is Irvin. Yep. Dan Irvin.
That's right.
Dan the man. I tell you what, he's also been a co-host on the show. He'll be back with us on the 22nd. Excellent. Superb human being, first of all. Phenomenal co-host. A phenomenal person. He's a great networker. He learns at an exponential rate. Extremely organized. great resource. Reach out to him. And I will tell you, Trevor Houston, who's going to be on right after Anna.
Absolutely.
You got to connect to him. Nobody knows how to put him. Nobody's got more energy than Trevor.
I know.
I have known Jack Russell Terriers that he would run into the ground.
Oh, he'd wear them out. And I'm with him every week. Actually, 3 times a week.
I don't think he gets tired. I firmly believe that man he's an Energizer bunny, 24/7, just running. I don't think he slows down, which I admire about him very, very much.
He knows what he's talking about, guys. Yes. Now, he's a millennial, but you know what? He's sharp, always upside his head. So the majority of us that have been laid off, I think it's safe to say that the majority of us are baby boomers and Gen Xers. And Trevor, he makes application of what it is, guys, that we need to listen to, because when Catherine and I started recruiting, we didn't have all this technology that we have now today. And so, but we need to be open to the things that will give us a leg up. Right.
I'm telling you, and just again, guys, network. Connect. Connect. Yeah, I know, right? Do it. And I will tell you guys, seriously, Foster is who you need to be following. I don't think anybody does more networking in this world than Foster does. So definitely connect to Foster. Definitely reach out to him and follow some of his groups. We mentioned a few of them earlier. Foster, you want to throw out a few more of your group names before we welcome Anna on?
Personally, in the Career Search Network. Now, guys, we are here. We're all over the country, but we started here in Dallas. So understand that a lot of these groups, and I'm going to mention all of these groups I'm going to mention, well, not all of them, are here in Dallas, a majority of them. We have Frisco Connect. You guys have heard about Frisco. The economic boom that's going on in Frisco is outrageous.
Crazy. Yes.
Crazy.
I remember when Frisco was country. It was nothing but country, and now it's just
nothing out there. You know, I keep forgetting that you spent quite a bit of time here in DFW. So yeah,
I'm a Texas girl. Don't get it messed up. I live in South Florida, guys. I live by the beach now. But hook 'em horns and go Cowboys. That's all I got to say about that. Oh, and my Dallas Stars. Got to give a shout out to them too.
And Baylor Bears. Okay. So, guys, we have South Lake Focus Group, which is probably the most well-known career management group in the nation. We out in Vienna, Virginia, or McLean, Virginia, we have CNM, Career Network Ministries. We have now what we have created here, because me being a recruiter, we have ITCSN, we have HR, we have engineering, we have project management, which is going on right now. They just finished up. HR is going on right now. And some of these groups, guys, look and see when you see the meeting notices, look and see, because what I like to do is talk about the job skill sets that are served in that particular group. Because we know in HR is going to include recruiters, training and development, legal, we got lawyers, anything administrative, whether you are office administrative or whether you are an executive administrator, all of those things and a few other things that I'm not thinking about right now are included in that group. So
100%
your people network. Hey, when you go to a group and you meet somebody named Catherine McCord and she's got a personality like that, you're going to be drawn to Catherine. You're going to want to meet Catherine. Catherine, what in the world is it that you do? Why are you so happy in life? What's your deal? What are you on?
Well, I live by the beach. I've got a successful company and I have a gorgeous husband. I don't know what else. I don't know what else to say about that. So life is good for Catherine.
I'll never.
But guys, I want to welcome on our first guest, Anna Morgan. I'm super excited to have her on. Yeah. Let's introduce her. I think we have an introduction. Yeah, here she is. A little bit about her. Fascinating woman. She's got some really interesting things to say. So Anna, you with us? Let's see. Anna Morgan. There she is. Lovely and red. Hello.
Hello.
How are you doing today?
Fantastic. It's an amazing day. You guys crushed that. You provided so much value.
Oh, God. That's
I learned.
Thank you.
So thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. Oh, and by the way, I love my shout outs for my Cowboy fans. We're getting some comments from some fellow Cowboy fans. Yeah, there's some good representation. Love it. Love it. All right. So Miss Anna, tell us about yourself. Let's start with that.
So my name is Anna Morgan. I am the owner of Career BFF. I am a rescuer of animals and careers. So I coach job seekers and career changers on networking, building relationships, and ultimately getting hired faster and finding positions that align with their purpose and passion. And I spent many years in agency recruiting and a couple years in corporate recruiting. So I've taken that knowledge and now I share it with job seekers to help them through their process. And I'm a mother of one human child named Charlotte. I have 4 rescue dogs and a very gorgeous husband like you, Catherine, that I just celebrated 20 years of marriage with. So
congratulations. Congratulations. I've been only 16 and a half and I'm pretty proud of myself. So
yeah, one of the hardest and most rewarding jobs I've ever had.
I'm working on my ladies.
Right. So Anna, I mean, one of the things I thought was really interesting about you when we spoke was kind of your story of how you came to found your current company. So can you tell us a little bit about that and what motivated you?
For many, many years working as an agency recruiter, you guys can relate to this. I was like, oh, I'll never go to corporate. Like only bad recruiters go to corporate, right? And then I hit my mid 40s and I was like, I love the sales grind. I love the hustle. I was always a top producer. I loved serving my candidates and my clients and working with a lot of different industries. And I was recruited into a corporate position when I wasn't looking, which is the best way to land a new opportunity. And I loved the corporate side too. And it was perfect kind of where I needed to be in my life. And so I really had an opportunity to learn, corporate recruiting, talent acquisition, the whole performance management. It was really cool because on the agency side, you have 45 different clients and you work in accounting, you work in marketing. My background is more in accounting and finance, but I've been a generalist throughout my career. So I got into corporate and about a year in, observing everything, I was like, I think I want a side hustle, which I recommend everyone have some kind of second revenue stream, right? I just smart thing for anyone today. If you are beautifully employed or you're kind of shaky, it's just always a great way because I was laid off May 1st and I had, high success in the organization, was well regarded, but I had some challenges. And I was thinking about this talk today and Brene Brown says, talk about your failures without apologizing. And so if we don't learn from our failures and our mistakes, then, insanity is just doing the same thing over and over again. And so looking back, so I'm taking those failures and those experiences and using them for good to be of service to other people and job searchers. So about a year in, I went on a spiritual retreat and I had this download and I was like, I'm going to start this little Instagram account and start talking about what I see in the job search process. And that's how Career BFF was born. And now I was able to pivot full time and be up and running. I had a wonderful foundation and tons of support. But the key component was LinkedIn. And I worked with Judy Fox as my LinkedIn business coach. And I had been actively showing up and finding my leadership voice and producing content since November. And when I posted that I had been laid off, the post had, I think, over 15,000 views, 115 comments. And within 2 weeks, I had 2 permanent offers, 2 consulting opportunities, and just tons of things coming in. It was all inbound. I didn't even have to apply for a job. And so if there's one thing I can recommend for job seekers is be active on the platform. Commenting is probably one of the most powerful things that we can do. And that's what I learned, through Judy Fox. But it's just changed my presence on the platform and has really given me the confidence to be able to pivot like that.
Right. Absolutely. So what is our theme today is, and this month is overcoming obstacles, right?
Yeah.
So go ahead, tell us, you had a great idea for a theme for this. So, or for a speech for this. Let's hear it. Let's hear what you've got to say about that.
I said in my post, I failed to get my manager to see my value. And looking back, if you're an employee in a situation and you're struggling like this, where there was jarred communication, expectations were misaligned, and I left meetings a lot of times with questions. So if I look back, I should have asked my manager, like, what are the best ways to communicate with you? I'm an extreme extrovert. I want to walk the halls, shake the hands, drop off goodies to my managers. And she was very introverted. And so it was a polarizing type of relationship. And I should have asked for like a new leader assimilation. I should have advocated for some strength finders. I should have asked her to lunch,
Right.
But it's very rare that I come in contact with someone that I can't connect with. And at that point, it just comes to acceptance, right? And I just tried to put my best foot forward. And then I received a performance review in my mind that was unfavorable based on what I had accomplished in the last year.
Right.
And I never signed it, and I didn't advocate for myself. So that's the other thing about overcoming obstacles, like speak up. I should have reached out to someone above the situation and ask for help, even in the height of a pandemic. And that was my thought. I stayed quiet because I was afraid. I didn't want to disrupt leaders that were dealing with much bigger problems, right? But it ultimately resulted in a layoff. And and it was heartbreaking. I mean, I loved my job and I loved the people I worked with. Mm-hmm. So just like so many other job seekers that are going through this process, we deal with denial, anger, bargaining, depression, and acceptance.
Yes.
Right?
Right. And we'll be discussing that later, by the way, in our psychology segment. So you hit the nail on the head with that. You hit the nail on the head with it.
Yeah. So what did I do as far as overcoming obstacles? I mean, the first things I did was I asked the right questions as I was, being offboarded. I reached out for support. I am sober from alcohol for 9 years. So I upped my meetings, and I reached out to people that, I know that can hold space for me and just let me alchemize some of these feelings. I stayed professional. I focused on my mental health. I am a certified yoga teacher, so I upped my yoga classes and my meditation. And I built a budget, and I sat down with my family. Gosh, telling your 11-year-old that you lost your job is not fun. Yeah. I know so many people go through that. But we made it fun, right? I said, I'm going to hire you as my TikTok manager.
Oh, cute.
So those were some of the things I did to take care of myself. And, then I started thinking, all right, so now it's time to dig deep, right? I want to be deliberate. I want to be inspired. I want to, take radical responsibility for my career and my business. And, the time is now. Like, there were days that I had my pity parties and ate my feelings because that's one of my coping mechanisms. But sure enough, a couple days later, I got my butt out on my bike or on my, to a yoga class. I think the key thing for job seekers when you're going through similar situations is just to honor where you are, right? Yes. And reach out for support. I mean, I think we're all feeling very isolated right now. And I laughed when you said that you get tired of being on the phone. I was thinking one of the things I missed is having 10 to 15 phone screens a week. So that's the volume of people I was screening, just like you all. And I'm like, I miss that. So if anybody wants a mock interview, send me a message and I'll do it for you.
That's
good. And that's great advice. A great offering, by the way, because I tell you what, practicing interviewing is crucial. I mean, you know, you've been in the industry and you've been on the other side of the table as well. And I want to circle back to something that you touched on. Folks, when you have a manager, first of all, management is a position of service, and don't let anyone ever tell you any differently. Okay. Right. And if they're not treating it that way, they're a poor manager.
Yeah.
But management is service, and their job is to take care of you and to make sure that you have everything that you need to be able to do your job successfully.
Right.
But you have to cultivate that relationship, to Anna's point, and you have to take some responsibility. They can come so far, and sometimes they don't realize that they're not connecting with you in the best way possible. They may think that they're being effective and they're not. I've had that happen because, like Anna, I'm very extroverted. And so I would spend time with my people and all this, but sometimes I would realize, wait a minute, this person's falling by the wayside and I need to connect with them. Or they would come to me and go, hey, you're ignoring me. Come, come sit down with me, come have this conversation. So that one-on-one time, make sure, whether you're a manager yourself or whether you're the employee, make sure that you get that one-on-one time. Okay. And the same thing is true even in the job interview process. Take personal responsibility for what's going on. Don't blow people up and annoy them. We already talked about that. Right. But connect with them and make sure that you're getting quality connection and find a way to personally connect with people. When they like you, they'll hire you. Okay. I have sent people.
We don't hire who we don't like.
It's so true. It's so true. If I've sent people that met, a quarter of the qualifications that some other person did, and they're the ones that got hired because they liked them. So definitely make sure you make that connection.
One of the things I coach my clients on, it's like, I believe it's qualifications. Connection over qualifications, right? If you can learn the language and ask the right questions to build that rapport, if you are missing, say, 20% of what they're looking for, you are going to be so irresistible and they're going to fall in love with you in a sense because you have built that rapport, right? And they're going to see your capability, your character, your integrity, your values. And those things are going to go so much further for the organization or the hiring manager than checking all the boxes. And I hope that we've been through this pandemic and we're still in it, that organizations and hiring managers will be a little softer and kinder to job seekers. And honestly, with the number of boomers and traditionalists that are exiting the workforce, organizations are going to have to be more innovative with
100%.
They're onboarding candidates and really just kind of breaking down their whole process and putting it back together, right?
100%.
Of hiring training.
Right. I've actually been taking a client through that and like, okay, no, this is horrible. We need to take all this away and build it back up. I also have a client that's a completely new company. I love working with startups. It's my passion. It's what I love doing. And I've been helping them build their hiring process. So that's kind of fun. But you're right. You have to get innovative and you have to get creative. And a couple of things I want to address in the comment. First of all, yes, Ellen, you're right. To Anna's point, you have to address your mental well-being, where you are, be cognizant of it. We're going to have Michaela coming on in a little bit, about half an hour. She's going to be addressing that. She's a psychology major. She's spoken at multiple conventions and things like that. Very, very smart young lady. So she's going to come on. And it makes me sad because I see in Tracy's comments, never met a manager who thinks that way. That's tragic. That's horrible. That means that person is failing and all those people are failing. And I will tell you, anybody out there who wants to learn about leadership, check out Sunny and Nina, our tech lady. If you could please put on a link to connect with Sunny. I can't pronounce his last name. I'm sorry, but he's phenomenal. He's a leadership expert. He knows I can't say his last name, but he's phenomenal. He's inspirational. He will connect with you. He will talk with you. And he wrote a book that is just truly spectacular. Definitely check him out. And there's links to all of that on his LinkedIn, but connect to people that are inspirational and understand it. And if you're in an organization that doesn't understand what leadership is, get out. It will not help your career. You will not ever be happy. Get on out of there.
And that's exactly like after a year of being in the seat, and this was like, I think my third or fourth boss in 2 years or less than a year, I was kind of
That's the dynamic now.
And it was really interesting going from the recruiting agency side where you had snippets of insight into different departments and organizations to actually sitting in the corporate world. And I was like, I think I'm a little too sensitive or feral. Someone said I was a feral wild cat for corporate America. And, but the key is that I listened to that internal pull And it was like, okay, my original plan was like maybe 2 years from starting my little Instagram account would be an appropriate time to transition, right?
Right.
And this was just a blessing in disguise. It just pushed me right out the door, and it was like, you're ready, Anna, let's go. So,
let's do it. Yeah. I love that. That's really wonderful. I like that. I actually had a similar moment in my life, not with starting my original recruiting company, but with another position where it just kind of went, I was in a bad partnership and something happened that was really horrible. And I had to fix that problem. And then I looked at my husband and we went, yeah, nope, let's just jump off the deep end and take off this direction. And it worked and it was successful. So don't be afraid to take risks. Don't be afraid to put yourself out there. I mean, Anna, you've managed to be successful with it and all of that. And how do you think, by the way, how do you think that your show helps with all that? I want to kind of talk about that because we've been trying to talk about networking and getting on these shows with people like yourself. So how do you think that helps?
So, I mean, it's been such a lifeline for myself and the attendees of the Job Seeker Hotline. So the reason the hotline piece came up was because when we shut down all our jobs, we were asked to answer the HR hotline, and there's this 70s song by the Silvers called Hotline.
Oh, the Silvers.
Hotline. And it was just, it was like, it's a quarantine song, right? So anyway, I was talking to another professional that I highly know and recommend is Michael Goldberg. And we decided to start a hotline show. And I think we started it in April. So it's been going every week since then, except last weekend. And it just gave us all purpose. And the most important thing is it provided hope. Like, it's not the slickest show. It's not perfect. But the point is we have an amazing group of attendees, and the fellowship and the networking in that group and just the loving support in that container has been so powerful and so nourishing, I think, to people, because when we're home for weeks on end and you're endlessly applying for jobs and you're networking and you're having informational interviews and you're trying to put your best foot forward, having a place to be every week is very grounding for people, right?
That's a great word. And yes, 100%. Yeah. And that's why I want to encourage everyone, pick a show, pick a networking group, something that once a week, you're going to do that. You're going to have that connection with fellow professionals or fellow human beings. It doesn't matter what it is, what it's for. And just really, really take that time and have that regiment, because I think it's going to be very healing. And celebrating each other's success, right? We have many people that have landed opportunities, but they keep coming back because we all just adore each other, right? So, it's just so fun. And it's been amazing to see the collaboration between attendees. Alma helped another young lady get her internship. Another HR professional has been helping. It's just been magical, really. And I'm so proud of everyone who attends. And it's every Thursday, 5:00 Eastern, 4:00 Central. So you can join us on Thursday, tomorrow. Yeah. And we have guest speakers. So another great opportunity. Dan Irvin did an amazing presentation for us. He's literally the most organized man on LinkedIn ever in life. Ever. And again, everybody connect with him. I think we have the link dropped. Also connect with Anna to get additional information. Her link has been dropped in the comments. Yeah. But it's time to say goodbye, unfortunately, to Anna. Bye, Anna. Thank you so much. And everybody, seriously. Yes, definitely connected. Definitely check out her show. She's phenomenal. Her energy is beautiful. And she's got a lot to say, trust me. And so next we're going to welcome the Energizer Bunny himself, our networking guru. We're going to be welcoming on Trevor Houston, who is also a host with the Who You Know Job Networking Show with Foster. Yep. Let's bring on Trevor. Let's see if we can get him on the screen. There he is.
Hey, what's going on?
I'm surprised I hadn't already seen him on Zoom this morning. We live on Zoom.
Man, I know. Father. What's up? What's going on?
What's going on there, bro?
Man,
we are having a great show today.
What's that?
I said we're having a great energized show today. So
I see that. I see the comments. Everything looks great.
We got a lot of fellow Cowboy fans on there too, Trevor. It's good people. They're good Cowboy fans.
Yeah, good Cowboy. I saw all the Cowboy fans. That's what's up.
Cowboy, and I've got Cowboy one of the cowboy colors on today.
You did, yeah. Foster and I decided to match. Apparently,
Trevor
we didn't even coordinate that.
Cowboyed up. He keeps
kind of have
now. Mark,
similar.
we're still working on Mark, but Trevor's.
Yep. So, guys, just so you know, so Trevor has been a co-host on this show. He has his own show with Foster and Mark, the Who You Know Job Networking Show, which is phenomenal. Definitely check that out. Lots of energy, lots of opportunities, lots of good advice, and they're just funny. They're just a joy to watch. I tune in just because they amuse me.
Show at 3:00 Central.
That's
time
right.
And if guys.
Yep. And if you need to pick me up every day, you've definitely got to follow Trevor, because his videos are both informative and hilarious.
They are good. They're real. They're on the real.
They are.
Sometimes they're even controversial.
Yeah,
sometimes.
That's true.
Sometimes they are. And sometimes you think that he's going one direction, then he takes a hard left and goes a completely other direction, and it happens. And it's really, really interesting. So let's talk about that. So I don't know anybody that brings more energy than you. So the first thing I want to ask you about is how you would recommend to people that they keep their energy right now. Because I mean, it's hard. And here again, we're having shutdowns again, right? And it's getting bogged down again. And the job search has continued. How do you keep your energy going?
I would ask the question of what time are you getting up? Right? Like, I think there's a pretty common theme between successful people, and that is that, you know, the early bird gets the worm, and the early risers. And so even in your job search, it can be easy to like fall into like, oh, I'll just sleep in today. No, get your butt up out of bed, 5 a.m., set that alarm clock and get to the grind. Okay. Grind every single day. Like it was your last day. I'm serious about that, because I know there's a lot of people out there that are, you know, they're not getting up till, you know, 8, 9, 10, 11 o'clock. Get up. Let's go to work. It's time to go. Time to grind.
So how do you keep up the energy during the day, though? Because during the day, I mean, you post even in the afternoons. I know you've been working all day. I know you've got your kids running around. I know you've got all this kind of stuff. Your house is always immaculate, by the way, which still just boggles my mind. But and I wish, do you have the kids' little board there? I think that's the cutest thing in the whole world. So Trevor has a chore board that these kids have to do every day. I think it's phenomenal. How do you keep that energy going? How do you do that all day long?
I don't know. I guess I just programmed that way. I'm a very driven person. I have vision. I think it's important to visualize, you know, what you're trying to accomplish, because if you can see it, it can become real, right? Like, your focus becomes your reality. The things that you focus on in life, you know, like our show was a vision for me. I remember sharing that with Foster, you know, years ago. And then, you know, when you visualize something, you just get one step closer to it. And so there's something in reality to the, you know, the vision boards people create and all that stuff. Like, do that. Like, what is your dream job? What, you know, visualize it and then go attack it, go make it happen. So yeah, I think that's what gives me energy is my vision. I live this life and I dream about it. My vision is in my dreams, you know, so from the moment my feet hit the ground in the morning to the moment my head hits that pillow, I'm working towards that ultimate goal, that ultimate vision.
Right. And I think that's the key right there. I think right there at the end, you hit on a spectacular point, is that when you have goals or you have something to accomplish, or, you know, including a job search or whatever it may be, it needs to be a constant point of focus and something that you're constantly working towards. And I mean, you have to have time with your family and do all, and I know you're a big family guy and all of that. So you definitely have that time, and you take back and you stop and breathe and you do all that. But there's always something in your day that goes towards that goal, you know. And I know I've watched you, and you do things at different times of days too. And it seems like you kind of circle back and always touch, okay, I need to do a post, I need to comment, I need to, you know, whatever it is, and get out there and network with,
and that's
with your
important
people.
too, is time management, right? So like, build out your calendar, make sure that you have, your day mapped out. Don't go into the day like thinking, well, I'm not really sure what I'm going to do today. If that was your day, then you've already lost, right? Like, you've already lost.
Right.
Okay. If you go in and you map it out, like have your perfect day mapped out on your calendar. My calendar is color coordinated. If someone looked at it, they'd be like, what? It's like, but I know what each activity means. I know dark blue is for networking. I know orange is for phone calls. I know green is my green time. That's money time, right? I know when I look at my calendar, I know exactly what's going on. And so, I would say time management is super important. And there are tools out there that can help you with that.
Oh gosh, yes. I use my calendar for everything. and seriously, you're right. Staying organized is so key. And the networking is something that we've really been diving into, right, on this episode and really, really stressing, because right now, guys, COVID's coming back. All right. And it's starting to rear its ugly face again, whether we like it or not. And the effects will stretch into business, and it's going to get crazy again. And they're saying this is still the first wave. So it's probably going to happen even again after that.
Yeah.
So networking is going to be crucial, both for, I think, mental health, which Michaela will be talking about right after your segment here, Trevor, and then also for professional reasons. So talk to us about how networking has helped your career, because I know it's a huge part of what you do.
Oh yeah, 100%. So, I mean, it's all about who you know, right? Like I have,
that's right.
my professional career has developed and grown, and it's always been, when I look back, it's always the people that I surround myself with. So I have to give some shout outs, like Cal Fahmy was my sales director when I was in the auto industry. And he, was like a drill sergeant. He programmed me. Okay. He programmed me to grind. Like, man, I'm going to tell you what. But he was like the drill sergeant, right? And then it was Brian Craig. And Brian Craig, what was special about him was he didn't have to yell and scream and be the drill sergeant. What he did is he just believed in me. He put everything on me. He believed in me and said, no, man, you can do this. You got this. So that was important. And then came Mark Elder, right? And so Mark Elder and I, he's my business partner, and he's like the yin and the yang. He's the exact opposite for me, but he complements my weaknesses, right? And allows me to play in my strengths. He allows me to really live out what I'm good at, because I don't have to worry about getting good at something I'm not good at, or worrying about that other stuff. He takes care of that.
Right.
Mark does that for both of us.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. And Mike, yep.
I was gonna say, and then there's Foster, right? Like a lot of my success. Well, I mean, listen, if it wasn't for Foster, a lot of this would not be possible, right? I mean, and just him opening the door and trusting us, it was a trust factor with him, right? And we had to build trust with Foster, because there were a lot of people that came before us. No, he wasn't. I invited Foster to lunch several times, and he turned us down. he was
persistent.
Busy.
That's what I'm hearing here is persistence. Persistence.
And it's the same thing with LinkedIn Live. We're LinkedIn Live at Who You Know, because Trevor is persistent, and he has that dream, and he's going to go after it, and you're just going to have to shut the door if he's not going to come in. You're going to have to lock it now, because he may kick it open.
Hey, and I've had plenty of doors. I've had plenty of doors shut in my face.
Yeah, we have.
And seriously, guys, and this is a good lesson. So this is a person who it started in car sales. I know your background. So you started doing car sales. Now you've got this independence with working with New York Life and all of that, and you've got the show, and you've got all this other stuff going on a million times, and you're always, and if once COVID is gone, you've got the summit that you're working on, and so much. So guys, persistence and attitude are so important. And I think true, I know he talked about, getting up early, and there's, I think that's more the mentality of waking up ready to go and geared up and getting your energy going. But I think too, Trevor, one thing with you is with that persistence, you also always had purpose, right? And that's kind of what you were talking about earlier with all of that. So in the job seeking world right now, with it being as crazy as it is, how would you advise people to go about making those connections and being persistent without, annoying people to the point they won't talk to you anymore? How do you go about that very specifically?
Yeah, there's a fine line between good follow-up and being a pest. Okay.
Yes.
We all know the difference, right? We've all been on the receiving end. So it goes back to biblical principle, treat people the way you want to be treated.
Right.
Do you want somebody blowing your phone up and texting you and just like emailing you back to back to back? Like, no. So don't do that. Have etiquette. How would you want to be followed up with? Think about that first. Okay. And then, be outside the box. Don't be like everyone else. Okay.
Yes.
So we teach people in our summit, which, by the way, we still are doing the summit course.
Oh, good.
It's online now. So
okay.
we just took it online. But so, it's about thinking outside the box, using technology, using approaches that other people aren't going to do. Right. And so we teach in our summit, we teach a product called BombBomb. And man, I'm going to tell you, that thing has just been huge. And it started off as just being a concept, because it's actually funny. So John Luce, shout out to John Luce. He's one of the directors at Frisco Connect. He posted an email that was about he posted a post about an email that was like a follow-up email, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so I was reading his post and I was like, oh, that's great. That's awesome. But I would just do it better. Like, I'm thinking about how I would do it. I would do it better with a video. Okay. And so I was like, you know what? This is concept. No one's done this before. Let me create an example. So I did an example. And then I started teaching job seekers this. And I said, hey, listen, I don't have any like tangible results behind this to know if it'll work, but I think it'll work. And a couple people tested me out on it in the beginning, and they were like, you know what? I'll try it. They tried it, and then the results that came back were phenomenal. It was just blowing away.
Wow.
And so then I had the result. And then I had the testimonials, right? And so now I'm like, okay, cool. Now I'm teaching this thing full force, and the results that we're getting from teaching that product has just been been awesome.
Oh yeah. And by the way, guys, Trevor, tell them how they can get in touch with you to be part of the summit and all that.
So we've got a lot of things going on right now, and you can find it all at whoyouknow.show. Okay. Whoyouknow.show. There's an events tab. Just click on the events tab. Takes you down and you'll see information for the summit course, which is every Monday from 1 to 3. Okay. So it's 2 hours. Like, I'm going to crash course some technology and some things that are going to take you and help you to get outside of the box and help you to gain the control back and to gain the attention you deserve from recruiters and hiring managers, right? Like, you're going to get their attention. I promise you. If you come through this summit, you'll get their attention.
I promise you guys, as the recruiter and somebody who's definitely been around Trevor for quite a while now, you will get attention. if you do this, and I know people that have successfully gone to his trainings and have listened to the things that he's taught, and it's made a huge difference in their career. So I will tell you, it works. Definitely take the time to do that.
Guys, like we say in Texas, who
you know. Show. And you know what? Watch the show today at 3 p.m. because what's cool, like. Don't take it from me. Yeah, I can sit here and tell you whatever, right? Yeah. But we've got a testimonial video being played. You're going to see a lot of people. Dan Irvin's in there. He came through the summit, and when he came through, I saw a transformation.
He did. He discovered Dan.
Right.
I'm telling
you. True. Yeah, Trevor's the discoverer of Dan.
I don't want to take credit. The guy is amazing, right? We all know that. These are things.
Dan the man.
These are things that were inside of him. These were things that were inside of him. You know, a lot of times God gives us talents and gifts, and sometimes they are lying dormant inside of you.
Yeah.
And it takes somebody, again, like Brian Craig, who believed in me, someone that can look inside you and say, you know what? and activate it. And all of a sudden you're just, whoa. And that's what you're seeing with Dan right now. Dan came through the summit, and I've just absolutely seen a night and day transformation. The guy is on fire.
Absolutely.
And I'm super excited to see what happens with this guy. I want to see
100%. I keep trying to find room in my budget for him. Seriously. Like he's so freaking awesome. He really is.
Yeah.
We have a question for you, Trevor. Are there other, because they said that, BombBomb is great, but they subscription costs and all that. So are there other free platforms you suggest that would be good to use so you could still get employers to open the link versus thinking it's spam or possible virus?
Yeah, so there are some other tools out there that have free, right? But I can't remember who said this was on our last show. Oh, it was Alicia from our last show. She said, be careful with free, guys, because if it's free, then you are the product. And so what that means is anytime it's free, there's going to be advertisements, there's going to be different things. And there's one product out there that I've been on the receiving end of, which is Loom.
Oh.
And the free version of Loom, when you're on the receiving end, halfway through they're clicking that video and they're playing it, an ad pops up right in your face.
Yep.
So if you're sending that into employers, be careful, right? That's not going to look good. That's not going to be like,
no.
You get where I'm going with that? So what I'm saying is, guys, sometimes free is not always better. Anyways, be careful. That's a great question. It is.
It's a wonderful question. Yeah.
There is one that works pretty good, but you can only put a limited number of videos. It's Vimeo or I don't know. It's something like that. Something like Vimeo or Vimeo or something like that. Yeah. And and that one works pretty good. It does fine, and it's completely free, but you can only have a certain amount of storage and a certain amount of videos. So just you'll have to kind of play with it. But that one actually works well.
I'll tell you, I am a BombBomb advocate till I die. Okay, I haven't got my I got my little whiteboard here. That's Jessica. Somebody else I was talking to earlier. But look, I'm a BombBomb, and let me tell you why. Here's the things that I love about BombBomb. Number one, the animated GIF. Okay, the animated GIF is what's going to get their attention. It's the first 3 seconds loops. So that's if I'm up and I'm doing like this, right? I'm going to get their attention. The second thing I like about it is the analytics. It tells me every click, every play. And what we're finding is that people that do it get 15 replays on average. That's huge.
Oh, nice. That's nice.
The email's getting forwarded.
Dynamics, yeah.
Yep, the email's getting forwarded to the hiring manager. Okay, that's what's happening.
Okay.
The other thing that I like is that it has a built-in call to action. So literally, someone is watching the video, you can say, hey, I'd love to book a time with you, schedule down below, and it pops up, boop, and they can just click on it, and there you go. Now you can put your resume in there. You could have them book a phone call with you with Calendly. There's a lot of different things you can do with that call to action button. So that's built in. The other thing is branding. Okay, so you can have your logo. You could have all kinds of. You can brand it your own custom branding at the top of the video. No ads, no spam. Guys, it goes on and on and on.
Trevor, real quick, I don't mean to interrupt you, but we got to wrap you up here pretty quick. But we have one last question for you, and I think it's kind of funny, so I definitely want to ask you. Roxanne McKnight says, "Where do you get the cartoon whiteboard?"
Oh, that's a good one. That's a good question, Roxanne.
Five Below. You can go to Five Below or Amazon. If you go to Amazon, it's actually more expensive. I think it's like $10. But if you go to Five Below,
Five Below. Yep, they've got them there. I've seen them there. Well, thank you, Trevor. You've been great. Thank you so much. Tune into the Who You Know show today at 3 p.m. Central. Correct? Yeah, 3 p.m. Central time. Definitely tune in and check those guys out. Thanks, Trevor.
Bye. See you, bro.
So next, guys, we're going to take some time, about 30 minutes or so, to kind of focus on our mental well-being and how we stay focused and how we keep our spirits up with everything going on. So the first part of that, we're going to welcome on our sort of resident psychology expert, we'll call her Michaela McCord. This is her with her therapy dog that she's trained, Maslow.
I love it.
She's been helping us out for quite a while. Can we bring Michaela on? Let's see, Michaela. There she is. Hello. And guys, you may notice that our last name is the same. That is not coincidental. This is my little sister. We've been asked that several times. So this is
Now I'm looking at
little
resemblance.
sister. Yeah, now you can see it, right?
I didn't want him to know that.
Michaela, somebody's got to keep your sister in line, and it ain't me.
Well, you know, I try to. I do my best. There's only so much I can do.
Please. So Michaela, you have an interesting actually career path that you have followed, because you've worked around recruiting with me, right? You've done the sourcing and all of that kind of fun stuff. So you kind of know about that. And now you have not only gone into psychology, but you have trained a therapy dog who we just saw a lovely photo of the two of you, Maslow.
Yes.
What's his name? Maslow?
And Maslow. And he's a little celebrity there in Waco, Texas with you. So first, could you tell us a little bit about your work with Maz and some of the things that you guys do together?
Yes, I'd love to. Of course, that's what I'm passionate about. So first, I want to clarify. I have my bachelor's in counseling, in psychology, but I'm actually a counseling major right now. That's what I'm studying, is counseling. And so Maslow, I got him specifically. He was a graduation present to me when I graduated with my bachelor's in psychology. And I got Maslow specifically for therapy work. I got him to train to use for my counseling that I'll eventually be doing. I just started my practicum and internship with the counseling. I'm in my master's, and so started my master's practicum and internship. I'll have 3,000 more hours after I graduate that I'll be under supervision. It's a big commitment. And so Maslow and I right now, he's still like I said, the training that we're doing is we go like Catherine mentioned, we're celebrities around. Let's be real here. He's the celebrity around.
He's the celebrity. Maslow's the celebrity.
I'm the girl that has Maslow. Like seriously, I'll go on hikes in our local park here, Cameron Park, and people will stop me. It's beautiful, and people will stop me.
I know. That's where I'm from.
Oh, okay, perfect. So you know it, yeah.
I'm from McGregor, Michaela.
He knows. He's from McGregor.
Oh, I love the McGregor area. Gorgeous. Yeah, but people always stop me and say, "Hey, aren't you the girl that has Maslow?" And I'm like, "Yeah, that's my name."
Oh yeah.
Yeah, the girl that has Maslow. That's it. And you go to the hospital. You go to the hospital with him and all of that, right? And work with the patients and.
Before COVID, he would even come to class with me. He started his actual therapy work when we did group therapy last summer. We actually had part of the class was an actual group therapy session, and I was able to start his training for psychotherapy intervention.
That's awesome. Yeah, he's going to be a very interesting part of your practice. And you've spoken at several conventions about your work with Maz as well. Yes, I know. So let's talk about what you have to say about COVID and using certain techniques to overcome obstacles and being conscious of your mental well-being. We'll let you kind of take it away with this one.
Well, thank you. Yes, I have a few things to say about barriers today. This is something that hits very close to home for me. As soon as you told me, Catherine, that's what we'd be talking about today with barriers, I'm like, I've got that. Like, yes, yeah. I've got barriers, and both personally and to discuss a little bit about it today. And the first thing, I do want this to be a little bit of a back and forth, because the thing is that there are endless possibilities for barriers. There are so many barriers, not just with COVID, professionally, personally, and with COVID, even within COVID, we have personal and professional barriers. So right now, I wanted to ask both you and Foster, what is one barrier that you see yourself being faced with right now?
Fear.
Fear. Oh, that's a good one.
Fear of the unknown.
Fear of the unknown. Wow, what a big barrier to bite off.
For me, the fear, and I think that's a common one, Foster. I see that so much, and we've kind of discussed that earlier in the show.
COVID, honestly.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, it's
the
just
dynamics that are going on in corporate America.
For me, it's I'm trying to think of the right way to say this. It's not becoming scatterbrained, basically. Trying to stay focused because I have so many different things going on. Both of you guys know everything I have going on, and like with work and the show and everything else I got going on, and it's trying to stay focused.
You want to be able to stay organized and balanced with your career.
Organized, I can do. Focusing the brain.
See, I can focus, but organized, forget.
Yeah. Well, Foster, we just need to merge. We just need to merge our little brains, and then it'll be perfect.
We do, and we're gonna attempt to do that.
And for this presentation, if you don't mind, Foster, I may bring up fear of the unknown and the uncertainty, because I think that's one that a lot of people are addressing. And Catherine, forgetfulness too. And I'll try to put a finger on more specifically what you meant as far as really being able to organize. That you seem to have fear around being able to stay focused with everything going on and all the overwhelming stress.
Mm-hmm.
Is that sort of what you meant?
Yeah. Yes, okay. That was precisely it. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
exactly. And there are a few steps that I wanted to talk about as far as overcoming barriers. And the first one is, what's your barrier? Like, what does it look like? What's going on? And I think this is especially important because it brings substance to the issue. Before, fear, for instance, this uncertainty, it can just be this nebulous over our heads, this cloud of stress and overwhelm. Just, I don't know what's happening. So just even naming it and saying, I'm uncertain about what's happening. I'm uncertain about the future, and I'm afraid. That alone can bring a lot of clarity. And in this first step, what is your barrier? I've broken it down into a couple parts. And the first part is have curiosity about the barrier. I think that in today's society, we're largely reprimanded for curiosity. We have phrases such as curiosity killed the cat, mind your own business. And I think this really inhibits and debilitates our natural gift as humans to curiosity and our creative potential. Curiosity opens up our ability as humans to have creative potential for problem solving and approaching 100%. Barriers. Exactly. And approaching barriers with, this open curiosity and to problem solve. And so I think the specific questions then would be, what goal are you being kept from? What can't you access? Because that's what barriers are, right? They're things that keep us from accessing goals and just from open access in general. So yeah, I would ask you that, Foster. So what goal are you being kept from this barrier of fear and uncertainty?
I'd like to think, Michaela, that I've overcome some of that, but believe it or not, and I'll never, ever be able to sell this to most people, but I am an introvert. There is a tremendous amount of time that I've spent as an introvert, and I've always wanted to overcome that. So now God has arranged my life to where I'm kind of a public figure now. And I'm always on these videos and the very things that I'm afraid of, but I have learned through experience to power my way through that stuff, because it's never as bad when you're in fear. It's never as bad as you think it is. So if you guys are fearful of something, jump into it as best you can. Meet a Catherine McCord. Have fun. Realize the gifts that you have, they're given to you from God, and move forward 100%. With that. And you'll be surprised. You'll be surprised what happens.
100%. And by the way, Michaela, we have comments saying that other people are experiencing fear, specifically fear of the unknown with everything going on with COVID. And we have, and Amber has been giving us some really good feedback today. She's feeling like any option must be taken, AKA settling is required. Basically, she feels like she has to settle for just kind of whatever comes her way, and that there's no option. She feels like there's Amber no option for her. There? Yes, it is.
Amber's awesome.
And there's just so much competition. She just feels like she needs to settle. How would you address that feeling, Michaela?
So specifically, the feedback is not necessarily any barriers around it, but specifically feedback for the feeling itself.
Yes.
feeling uncertain about, let's see, continuing the search for the right fit, so much competition with additional
Basically
people.
needing to settle. She feels like she needs to settle for something just because she doesn't know what's coming up.
Yeah.
Oh, because of all the uncertainty, so that it's safer right now to settle instead of put your to wait for the future. Well, honestly, as humans, we do the best we can to keep ourselves safe and to keep ourselves from this fear of the unknown, because we don't know what's going to come with it.
That's
right. And so what I hear happening for you, Amber, is to stay here in the balance that you have and the peace that you have now, to keep yourself safe. And honestly, I don't think there's anything wrong with that, because the truth of the matter is you would be taking a risk. You'd be absolutely taking a risk to wait and see what happens in the future. And as humans, it's really difficult because we want to be able to maintain our homeostasis and our balance. So I absolutely sympathize and empathize, because I'm in the same basket myself. It's like, what do I do with my practicumship right now and my internship? I'm like, do I stay with what I have right now, or do I put my eggs in another basket? And if I put my eggs in that basket, does that mean that I lose this one? So I think it really comes down to, what are you going to be okay with in the end?
Mm-hmm. And I think too, just to chime into that, Amber, I think specifically dealing with the job hunt, number one, never put all of your eggs in one basket, no matter what, right? And look for those opportunities to have side hustles and all of that, so that you don't feel so much pressure with that. And don't settle for a job that's going to make you miserable, because that's no good. But Michaela's right that if you find something that's good enough right now, that's good enough, it pays you a good enough salary that you can be comfortable, and all that, then it's okay for now. And you can just have a goal to either move up with that company or go to another job later. That's okay. Okay. That is perfectly fine. Don't put so much pressure on yourself that you just have to have the perfect job right now. I feel, and Michaela, correct me if I'm wrong, I feel like that creates unnecessary stress on yourself. Yes, please.
Well, maybe a penny. I don't know. But I know Amber because I see Amber around the network. One thing that I have noticed, and this is from experience and I'm sharing, get around people that do what you do or do what it is that you want to do. There will be new ideas. You will meet a Michaela McCord, that will have that you can buddy up. You'll be surprised when you get out and network. You will meet these people and you will be energized by what they're doing. There'll be new ideas. There'll be some things that they're getting into that you can add value to, and you can slowly move your way through that fear. That's just, I don't know, maybe I'm just explaining.
No, that's true. Yeah. No, that's true. I think too,
support yourself.
Right. And I know that there's a lot of fear because, like we've addressed, things are shutting back down. And Michaela and I, you and I have had a lot of discussions about this and what this feels like and what this looks like. And guys, we are going to talk with a couple of the upcoming experts about what they think is going to be happening in the business world and all that. Yeah. But I think one of the big things to do is what Anna, who came on a little bit, before Michaela, a couple of guests ago, our first guest today, she said, make sure that you're taking time, ground yourself with having one networking event or two networking events that you attend and keeping that connection, because you're remembering that you're not alone. I think, as Michaela addressed this in one of our first shows, remembering that you're not alone is very crucial. Would you agree with that, Michaela? Absolutely.
As humans, we are a social species. We need connection. We need community. So knowing that you are connected to others brings a lot of support.
Right. And I think that can get us all, I think all of us coming together and talking, connect with Foster, connect with Michaela. She's on LinkedIn. She'll talk to you. She loves to talk to people. Is she in Maslow? You can ask for Maslow pictures. She's got a whole thing going with Maz, And Maslow will send you little hope you're doing well cards. She has stuff like that she does. so connect with Michaela. Follow my company. We use Maslow and her other dogs for different things on there too, but connect with people, talk to us. watch the Who You Know Job Networking show. Watch this, get in some groups, get in some of Foster's groups. There's links. Scroll up in the comments. There are links. Connect to us. Talk to us. Yeah. We are here for you.
And Amber, I know people that I can connect you with. I'll be more than glad to do that. Get them off my back.
Right? And if you're looking for a job too, right. And if you're looking for a job too, do go to our website, careerlaunch2020.com. There are tons of opportunities on there, especially with the project Help You Grow. Also, we are, again, for those of you that have recently tuned in, we're offering scholarships. Contact with me on LinkedIn. I will tell you how to enter in. We're giving away 5 free internationally recognized Scrum Master certifications. Those can be used for all different types of roles. And this will be a completely free educational experience for you. So again, just real quick, wanted to remind everybody that's new and tuning in that we do have those opportunities as well. Mm-hmm. So Michaela, what other tips do you have for us today?
Well, just sort of finish up in our last few minutes here. I'll just do a quick run through the other steps, just overcoming the barrier. So just to recap, the first step was to just notice the barrier, put a name to it to make it more manageable. The second step is to play with options. So you have this image of a barrier in your mind, and now the idea, and I love this phrase, play with options, because now the idea is to walk through your head some ideas of how you could handle a barrier. And the thing that popped into my mind was something a little more concrete than this nebulous of fear that tends of uncertainty of the unknown. So like, let's say you have issues with coworkers. And instead, so you may in your mind picture walking up to them. And the first thing you may want to do, especially if the coworker's been extremely nasty, is in your fantasy in your head, you want to slug them right in the face. However, if you play through that,
but don't really do that. I've had that happen at a place I work. Do not actually do that.
Disclaimer. But if you continue walking through that image just a little further into your head, you're going to notice some consequences popping up that you're not going to probably be too fond of. So then, you just rewind it and say, okay, let's try a different image. Let's walk through a different option in my head. So you see yourself walk up to the coworker, and instead of slugging them, you assertively confront them on what's been going on. And when I say assertive, not aggressive, there's a big difference.
It's a big difference.
Yes. You assertively state your expectations and what's going on. And then you play that one out a little bit further, and maybe you don't get immediate gratification. Maybe it's not something that immediately happens, but you can always say that you covered your basis. You did everything you could
100%.
Exactly. Yeah. So that's the second step. Is the first step you notice the barrier. The second step is you go through options in your head for how to overcome it. And then the third step, I wonder what that could be. You implement it.
Yeah.
You just you carry out the action. So what's that, Foster?
I said do something. We talk about all this stuff, but the power is in the doing. Stepping out and
100%.
I want to suggest to Michaela, and Catherine may have already told you this because it's tremendous. I would like Amber and our other listeners to connect with Project Help You Grow, Ira Bowman. And
Ira Bowman.
Guys, I have spent many nights, I'm up late.
Oh, I love her.
Ira Bowman is tremendous. And not Michaela. Amber, connect with Ira. Tell him that Foster's running his big mouth about you. and you'll be surprised what will come out of a conversation with Ira, because his whole idea is to connect the whole world. He really is.
And if you want some additional tips, oh shoot, God dang it!
Did you?
Are you also with me? There you are. I had a technical difficulty. It was terrible. All right, so little obstacles, right? Little baby obstacles. I keep having. By the way, guys, don't text me while I'm on the show. This keeps happening. Yeah. Do not text me while I'm on the show. If you're going to be a guest, please text Nina, our technical lady. And real quick, Deborah, I do see your question. Deborah Wolf, we're going to wait and address that with Justin Radecka, who will be on in about 10 minutes or so. So give us just a minute. But I want to thank Michaela so much for coming on. Again, guys, please connect to her. Also connect with Sonny. His profile is somewhere up here in the links. Definitely connect with him. He's a very inspirational person, and he can help you, if you're trying to figure out the best way to word something with somebody and the best way to kind of go about it. Definitely connect with him. He's got some great insight. And Michaela's connected with him. They've become kind of fast buds. So, and Foster too. Foster and I are always here to help with that kind of thing. I love employee relations. And I have some great stories about employee relations. We'll get to some of that later. But thank you, Michaela, and have a wonderful rest of the day.
Sick 'em bears, Michaela.
All right, so next we're going to kind of wrap up our mental health section with also addressing some of our physical needs as well. We're going to bring in Misty Leiter, who is a very interesting young lady. She's got her own company. She also does yoga. She travels all over the place. Let's bring in Misty and get to know her a little bit.
All right.
Hi.
Hey, Misty.
Hi. How are you today?
I'm doing well.
Very good. All right. So we're going to start. We just want to know a little bit about you and what you have going on professionally right now.
Yeah. So I am a yoga instructor. I am from Denver, Colorado. That's where I'm living right now. I've been teaching for about 4.5 years, and I've been practicing for a little over 13 now. So love yoga. Wow. I'm also a licensed massage therapist. I'm not practicing, but it definitely has influenced a lot of my teaching habits. So I help people gain a better understanding of their bodies through creatively sequenced yoga classes. And I also help people feel more empowered, capable, and present during their daily lives through meditations, affirmations, and journaling prompts. And all of that stuff is on my online yoga platform. So it's a monthly membership that people can join. It's affordable. It allows people to do yoga anywhere they are. And yeah, I really love it. It gives me an opportunity to connect with people more one-on-one. I do private yoga and things like that as well. So,
guys, I am going to tell you something about Misty. So first of all, Anna, who was on earlier, she also is a yogi. And so she was super excited. I see her comment. She's very excited to have you on. Misty is just an uplifting human being, you guys. So if you're looking for somebody who could just bring up your spirits and kind of help your day get going, definitely follow her and connect to Misty. She's got a wonderful, glowing personality. And if you're looking for yoga, I know she's got some talent there. In fact, she's going to share with us a little bit of her skills. I don't know exactly what you're going to do for us, so tell us how you're going to help us get our minds right today.
Yeah, so I feel like we've all been working from our couches lately. Yeah. And if we're not working from our couches, maybe we're just binging on Netflix. And, we're probably spending a long time sitting in places that we don't really need to be sitting for a long time. So we're going to do just a really quick yoga session in a seat. So you can use your desk chair, you can use your couch, anywhere you're sitting, just an opportunity to kind of sit down, take a few deep breaths, connect with our bodies, and just do some gentle stretching. Great for that like midday office break or midday Netflix break. So are we good to get started now, or? I'm going to take that as a yes. Okay.
Yeah, go.
Okay, awesome. So I'm going to scooch back so we can see maybe a little bit farther down. Awesome. So for everybody joining, if you just want to bring your hands to face down on your thighs, and we'll bring the shoulders up to your ears and then back down and close down your eyes. We'll start with a few deep breaths. So exhale all of the air from your mouth. And we'll inhale slowly through the nose. And one more time, exhale out the mouth. And we'll start some movement. So let's do some big circles with the shoulders. You can keep the eyes closed if you want. The hands might kind of move up and down the thighs. That's fine. We'll go up towards the ears and then back and down. So just releasing any tension out between the shoulder blades and the tops of the shoulders. You might even get the arms into it. And then we'll go opposite direction. So whatever feels good here with the shoulders. shoulders. Just a couple more rounds. And we'll keep those slow, steady breaths. And then we'll go into some neck circles. So let's start chin to chest and lift up tall. You may even come to the edge of your seat. Feel the back of your neck stretch out, and then we'll go right ear to right shoulder. Take the chin up towards the sky. Keep the ear towards the shoulder, and then bring the chin back down. One more like that. Chin up and chin down. Bring the chin to chest, and we'll go to the other side, left ear to left shoulder. Chin up and chin down. One more, chin up and chin down. So just stretching out the scalenes on the front of the neck, and we'll roll the chin back towards the chest. Slowly lift the head, and we'll move on to the sides of our body. So take your right hand across. So you can either grab onto your chair if it's a little bit more sturdy. Mine's squishy, so I'm just gonna grab my leg. And then lift the left arm up towards the sky. We'll lean over to the right. So big side body stretch. Really reach through the armpit and press down through that left hip. And then if you look underneath your armpit, you might even find that that stretch kind of moves into a different part of the body. Little twist. And then turn forward, and we'll lift back up. Go to the other side. So left hand crosses over, right arm lifts up. And big side body stretch to the other side. Again, pressing the right hip down. Reach through the right armpit. And then maybe we'll look underneath. Take a few deep breaths. So this deep breathing is what brings us into the present moment. And it also signals to our nervous system that we can kind of settle and calm down a bit. Good for all those stressful days at work. So lifting ourselves up, take your right leg, and we're gonna cross it over. So the ankle will go on top of the knee. Find a nice tall spine, and then we'll hinge from the hips and stretch out the glute muscle on the right side. So
and by the way, Amber, yes, you're correct. There is some snap, crackle, pop happening with all of us older people right now.
Well, you got that right. It feels really good, though, because I never do it.
I love you doing it with me, too. That's great.
Yeah, we're doing it with you. We're right here with you.
Yeah, we are.
Please don't put us back on the screen, Nina. I look ridiculous.
I got to go with him after all
and
this.
you'll switch sides. So bring the left ankle on top and long spine as you hinge forward. So think about hinging right from the hip. And then that left hip is going to open up. So we're stretching out our glute, our piriformis. For those of us with sciatic issues, sometimes this can be really helpful. I know sitting really funky positions can kind of bother my sciatic nerve and my sacrum, my low back.
Catherine,
I'm going to start doing this.
Big words.
Yep, and I tell you what, I'm going to start doing this in the middle of every show. This is phenomenal.
It really is. It really is.
All right, so go ahead and uncross. Bring your hands behind you. I'll turn so you can see. You're going to grasp your fingers at the webbing and bring the shoulders onto the back. So lift the chest up, take a little back bend, and then feet on the floor, hinge forward, and lift the arms up. So for some of us, we might just get the hands barely off the sacrum. For some of us, we might bring the hands all the way up and over.
Oh, wow.
And just know that it's fine wherever you're at. There's no need to force it. All of our bodies are shaped differently. And we'll continue those deep breaths. So it's little movements like these that can help us get through the day. So lifting up, we've just got one more. So for this one, we'll come to a standing shape, coming to the back of our chair or the couch. And we're coming to a standing downward dog. So my feet are about 6 feet apart. Put your arms onto the chair and then let your chest fall through. And I got some pops in my shoulders. So letting the chest fall through the arms. Nice stretch for the upper back. That's probably one of my favorites. That really opens up the chest because we tend to spend a lot of our time hunched forward like this. So the more we can open this way, the better we're going to feel long term because our spines and our upper backs.
100%. And thank you so much, Misty, for coming on and and helping us out and helping us get stretched out, even as the host. We really appreciate it.
So
You're still doing stuff. Go ahead, Misty.
If anyone wants to connect outside of here, all of my stuff is Misty Mountain Yoga. So MistyMountainYoga.com has the online yoga membership platform. And I love answering questions about yoga. So please reach out. And yeah, I'd love to connect with you about it. So.
All right, absolutely. Thank you so much again, Misty. I feel so much better. I'm with Foster. I'm still over here like moving and fidgeting and everything.
Well,
thank you so much.
So this feels really good to me.
It does. And guys, do this every day. It will keep you healthy and it'll help keep your mind right, that you feel better, and definitely connect with Misty. Trust me, she's worth it. She's worth the connection for sure. Bye, Misty.
Bye.
Thank you, Misty.
And now we're going to bring on our next career-focused guest. We have Justin Radecka, who is a very interesting, very funny guy. We're very excited to have him back on. Let's bring Justin in. Can we get, there he is.
Hey guys.
Hey, Justin.
Hey, how are you guys? Thanks for having me back.
Absolutely. We're so excited to have you back. So tell us what's new with you.
I'm excited to listen.
What's new? Oh, I don't know. COVID. Have you heard of it?
Right? This whole thing that we're all just stuck dealing with.
We're closing down again. I don't know.
I know. And I wanted to ask your opinion on that, because you're one of the people that I really wanted to kind of hear your thoughts, because you've been on both sides of the desk, right? Of the hiring desk. So you know all about what that's like. I know my opinions, and Foster and I have kind of talked about this. What is your take? Because they're still saying that this is still part of the first wave, right?
Right.
So what is your take about how this is going to affect the business market in general, and how this is going to affect the job market?
Interesting. I just had this conversation yesterday with one of my colleagues. We were discussing the idea that the market right now is extremely volatile, but it feels safe. So people are going back to work in their weird remote way. But we're also seeing that the service industry is collapsing, right? So restaurants now are closing up doors for good. So it's not no longer can I just wait this wave out and then we'll get back going as best we can. We're seeing doors close, and that's going to be extremely detrimental, I think, to our economy. In that when you lose the waiters, the servers, all the service people, which you go across the board. I don't want to list them all here. You're going to start seeing that we're going to struggle a bit in the economy. Now, when you look at large companies like Microsoft, Google's, Costco, they're doing fine. Yeah. Because they're large enough to do fine, and they're large enough to understand how to mitigate working remotely and to mitigate these different opening and closing things. Right. And it depends on the state you're in. So I'm in California, and we're closing back up again. Right. Our beach is closed again. We were closed the 4th of July. We were closed down for everything.
Same in Texas and same here too, man. Feel your pain.
Right. And so it's hard to look at this market and say it's going to be a good job market in the next 6 months. It's going to be tough. I mean, I don't even think we've even hit the recession part yet. Right. The economic recession is following this.
Agreed.
Right.
I think stimulus only goes so far. People would probably use their stimulus check. My guess would be to pay off credit card debt, not to survive, right?
Right.
Because we're a heavy debt-ridden society. But going forward, we're still going to try. I think November is going to be tough for us. November, December, January, it's going to be really tough for us if we continue down this path, right?
Yeah, I agree. And so let's start with that obstacle, right? So we have this crazy COVID obstacle. Right. How do we overcome as a job seeker? How do you overcome that? I
have been telling people, it's odd because my nonprofit is focused on building businesses. We want to help startup founders build their startups, right? We've had this discussion where, well, what are the key elements of a startup that you need as a founder? And then what's the difference between that and then going to get a job in this market? We think there's very little difference. There's key skill sets that you need. The first thing I think is start learning a skill of where you want to be.
Right.
Not what you do now, but where you want to be. So, and doing that, I'm an avid reader. So I like the idea that if you get out there and get a book, get several books on what you want to do, it'll help you, one, your mindset working through this idea of depression, the anxiety.
Yes.
Because you'll start focusing your mind on something new and what you're learning. And I think that's the first way I think that you could do it as a tactical, what's the word I'm looking for? Is a way to move forward, take the first step forward.
Right. Absolutely. And I think too, with that, we've talked a lot about using education. And don't forget, guys, connect with me and message me on LinkedIn to get entered in to win those international Scrum Master certifications. But it's not just that you don't necessarily have to do a certification or anything. There are classes that you can do that just, kind of beef up your brain, basically. There are seminars you can do that are also interactive. So then it feeds that need, like we just talked about with Michaela, and kind of that kind of human elements that's coming into play. But one of the things too, and Amber asked this question just a little bit before you came on. I don't know if you were in the wings yet or not, but she asked about, and right now I do think that this is more of a problem than it even usually is, overcoming the being overqualified objective. So, and I mean, you've been there. We've all been there. We know what that's like.
2000 recession, 2008.
A number of them.
So what do you do? What is your tip before Foster and I dive into it? What is your tip on overcoming that obstacle?
Overcoming the overqualified obstacle, I think, is an interesting question, because what you're really trying to do, I think, as a job seeker, is get out there and explain to them how you're going to move them forward, move that company forward. Right. So if you solve one of their problems, you're no longer overqualified. You're a problem solver.
Right.
So I think the first thing that you need to figure out is, wherever you want to be, is what problems are you trying to solve for that particular CEO or that particular, I mean, when you look at someone who's had a career in, say, an executive career, it's really going to be difficult these next days, but you have all those skill sets to help you go, you know what, I could solve your problem, and here's how I could solve your problem.
Right.
So you're no longer just that guy that goes, oh my God, they're overqualified. I'll bring them in. And you could say, I'll come in as a director level, but I'll still solve this problem for you.
Right.
And all of a sudden you change the dynamic of who you are in their eyes.
Yes. And that's what we keep talking about, that personal brand, that personal value that you bring, and highlighting that in your resume, whether it's listing specific things that you can overcome. We tell people, get real specific, talk about how you did it, and creating a video cover letter. That's a really cool new thing that's kind of come out through this whole COVID thing. I love it. You get like this little 20, 30-second snippet of the person. You get to see their personality and who they are. And they really make that connection. And I think I have this theory that once people see you and your excitement, they forget about their prejudices, like the age discrimination or racial discrimination, gender discrimination, whatever it is. And guys, just because those things are illegal, don't fool yourselves into thinking that stuff's not still out there. It absolutely 100% is, especially age discrimination.
Ooh.
So yeah, it's horrible.
It's rampant. I mean, look at LinkedIn.
Oh, everywhere. God, I know.
I mean, LinkedIn like this whole microcosm of what exists out there. And when you hear we're looking for someone that's young and talented, you're like, all right, well, that it counts me
really,
out.
Guys? Yeah, right.
Yeah. It doesn't make any logical sense to me for companies to push back on the people that know what they're doing.
Right. That makes zero sense. I've never said, and the same thing, just the opposite. Just because someone's young doesn't mean that they're stupid, and it doesn't mean that they don't know what they're doing. I have met people that are in their early 20s that are gurus at their profession. It just depends. I've met IT professionals that have been coding since they were 12. Right. So when they're 21, they have 9 years of experience.
My nephew is one of them.
Yeah, and it's amazing. And I've known people like that with marketing. My nephew, is out there creating these viral memes and videos that like tens of thousands of people are using, and that he's 12. Right. That's insane. So if he keeps pursuing that, when he's 25, he'll have over a decade of experience, but people will look at him and think, oh, he's young, he doesn't know anything. So,
but I think you hit on something important, is that when we look at hiring, we hire for skill sets. We hire for very specific skill sets. And I've always thought that the more specific you are in your skill set, the more proficient you become in that, the more mastery you evolve into, then you become extremely valuable. If you look at some of the most successful people in business, at least, they're very skilled at a thing. They're not across the board. I mean, you look at all these CEOs in the tech industry and even in other, the food industry, they are very skilled at something, and they were hired for that reason.
Right.
They weren't hired because they know everything. There's no CEO that knows everything, right? There's
that's the truth.
And then
they think they do.
CEO ego is different. But I think that trickles down to every position in the company. Is if you have a skill set that you're good at, like your nephew making memes, if he continues down that path, he's going to understand so much more than the average person.
From experience. Right. Yeah.
Right. 100%. And I think really overcoming your fear. I mean, Roxanne, pointed out that their fear too. You have to overcome their fears, right? So they're afraid that you'll leave, or they're afraid that you're going to want to not be in that position and take their job, right? And I have this. There's this ridiculous thing that people have where they won't hire someone who doesn't want to move into management. What does that have to do with whether or not they're good at the job that you're hiring them to do? That makes zero sense to me. And so, focus on when you're hiring, focus on that job. But when you're on the job seeker side, focus on relaying to them, like you're saying, it's all about how you help them, right? They don't care about what you did in the past. Don't dwell on that. Talk about how I'm going to help you. And when you focus on that and you bring attention to that, it eliminates those fears and it takes that away, so that then they can just go, oh, okay. Right. And by the way, age discrimination, real quick, Justin, age discrimination, one of the first things you can do is show energy, right? When you get on the phone, when you're doing something, that's why I say, especially to people who are a little bit, whatever you think older is in your minds, it's different for everybody, but send out those videos and show your energy. That'll get rid of that. Because a lot of times what they're really saying is, I want someone with high energy.
Right. That's so true.
And hiring managers, guys in corporate, and Justin, I'm doing what Catherine's doing. Guys, we still, and you guys in corporate America, you hiring managers, you know what I'm talking about. Guys, we still have pretty much the control over who it is that we want to hire. Yeah. And it's okay. If you hire a guy that looks like Foster, it's okay. And you'll be surprised what you get out of that person. Okay, I'll shut up.
That's right. And what were you going to say, Justin? You were going to say something else too.
I think you're right on a couple of accounts. I think the energy level for someone who is older, say, I'll use myself an example because my mirror always looks older than I feel.
I know.
Right? The mirror lies.
That's true.
But I would say not only do that in how you're in person or on phone or on video, but make sure that's relevant in your writing in your resume. I use examples of what I've accomplished and how I'm going to, first off, the first thing I want to do is how I'm going to solve the problem for you. Here's examples how I've solved that problem in the past. And I give data behind it. Numbers, real numbers.
Specifics, yes.
Very specific. I did this. So I built a team and hired these types of individuals on that team. We then did this, which took us this long to do. And then here was the result out of that. Right. Very, very specific numbers. But you can have that energy in that writing in your resume, I think. I think cover letters are a great place to do that too. And I don't know, there's a mixed bag of people. I use humor in mine too. People are like, don't use humor. You're a professional.
I disagree. Use humor.
I'm like, no, that's my personality. Because if you're ever going to meet me, I'm going to make sure we're laughing and having a good time, hopefully. Right? And if that's not part of your corporate culture, then maybe I don't want to work for you.
Yes. Oh, you hit the nail on the head there. Thank you. That is exactly what I'm always trying to say.
Yep.
Yes. It is you're interviewing them just as much as they're interviewing you.
Absolutely.
So you need to make sure that their culture fits and ask questions that are geared towards their culture, right? Talk about, talk about what it, how often do you have meetings? What does that look like? What is the autonomy? What is an average work day? Ask about, and don't let them get away with sneaky answers either, because you'll like there's a room to advance, and people will say things like, oh yeah, sure, there's room to advance here. Get specific.
Right.
What does that path look like? How many people that are on your management staff were promoted from within? These are things that you'll learn. Do you do company gatherings? This is an important question. Does your company require or encourage volunteer work? That's another good one.
How do you evaluate performance?
Yes. That's a great question. How do you evaluate performance? Do you have mentorships, from a senior level employee to a junior level, that type of thing?
Right.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So put the CEO to test too. I mean, make sure the HR person knows what the CEO is thinking. Even though you may not be working for that CEO, you may be, say, 2 or 3 levels down from that CEO, put that to the test. Because their perception of the CEO will give you an idea of what that company's run like.
100%.
Any HR person, any HR recruiter, whoever you're talking to first line, I say, okay, well, what's the CEO think is going to happen the next 6 months?
Yeah.
And they'll have to try to figure that out and explain that through and it comes out through, you can see culture through that way. You can see direction through that way. You can see how they're hiring through that way. And I ask them, what other positions are you hiring for? What is the gaps in the company that you're trying to fill?
Yes.
Job seekers, it's very important that we do what we're talking about right now. Why wouldn't you want to see what you're plugging yourself into? You got a family.
Right. Right. And you spend a lot of time with these people, right?
And yes, you spend more time with them than you do your family. And I will tell you too, right now with COVID, you need to be asking them what their plan is for COVID to keep the business active and to keep it growing. Okay. Yep. Or even if they can't really grow right now, like let's say it's a travel company or something like, or cruise line, something like that. Obviously they're not going to grow right now. That's just ludicrous. But how are you going to stay afloat?
Right.
What is your active plan? And again, don't let them be vague.
No.
You're looking for very specific plans, okay? Because these are things that should have been trickled down to HR and all. This would be something that's company-wide known that provides you with security. Also, look for companies, make sure that they're not also doing layoffs at the same time that they're hiring, because then what's going to happen is you're going to come in the door, you're going to work there for 2 months, and then all of a sudden your job doesn't matter either. Okay. Right. So pay attention to these things, get online, and don't just do your Glassdoor reviews, which are important too, by the way. Don't just do that. Get on there and go, okay, so what's going on behind the scenes, and investigate the company, not just the position as well.
Yes. You should know, and there's a guy named John Chambers. He was the former CEO of Cisco Systems. He had a binder of the person he was having a meeting with. Every time he walked into a meeting, he would do all the research about that person and say, look, I'm going to find out everything I can about the company, the person, all that. So every time he walked into a meeting, he already knew where they were coming from. And
I'm going to tell you, that's great advice. And by the way, guys, do a little bit of stalking before you go interview, get on LinkedIn. Yeah, right. We've all stalked each other. All 3 of us, just so all of you know, we've all stalked each other. Yeah, it's 100% happens. So like, I get on websites, I get on social media. I am going to know what's up with you. And I have walked into meetings and made comments like, hey, I know you're a fellow Cowboy fan. How about that play where blah, 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 blah. And they're going, what? Or I know you play fantasy football or whatever. Exactly. But it makes it also that personal connection too, And on that note, guys, clean up your profile. Google yourself and have somebody that's not you. Have somebody that's not you Google you, so that way when they click on and that's not connected to you on Facebook and all that, so that way when they click, you will be surprised what is public and what is not. I used to shock my employees with that. And that is one of the very first ways that people background check you these days, is to check on that kind of stuff. So make sure there's nothing controversial posted, make sure that there's nothing vulgar, make sure there's no picture of you smoking pot posted, even if you live where it's legal. Make sure that you shouldn't have to say, Justin's over there going, uh-oh. Maybe this could explain some things. And no judgment, by the way, if you do these things. I'm just telling you what from the other side. And on drinking, like, don't have a million pictures of you chugging your stuff. We all enjoy a drink, okay? I just got in a whole conversation about this the other day with some of our guests, but seriously, don't post that kind of thing. Use your head, guys. Just look at it and think, if I was going to hire this person, would I want to see this?
And to be honest, there's so many controls. Like Facebook has so many controls. You can make that as private as you want. You should. And if you want to post those pictures of you at the lake doing whatever with your friends, that's great. Just keep it private. It doesn't have to be public.
Yes.
I understand. And if they do somehow get into your private, then you have course to go, why were you in my private? How'd you get in my private?
Yeah, now you're creepy.
Right.
Now we've crossed over into creepiness.
Right.
Space, are you guys listening?
Right. And all you young guys out there, a lot more shows than you think. So Justin, thank you so much for coming on today.
Thank you for having me again.
True pleasure. And we'll talk to you again soon.
Yes, thank you.
Just have a great day. I'll see you on LinkedIn.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I would connect with Justin, guys, on LinkedIn. If we could get his profile dropped into the comments, that would be awesome. Everybody connect with him. He's a very interesting person, makes some interesting career pivots. A great person to get some advice from. So next we're going to be bringing on Hollis Roberts. She is a resume guru and quite the interesting professional as well. A little bit about her there. Let's bring on Hollis and say hi to her. Hello, Hollis. Are you?
Hi.
Oops,
how are you?
Wait, something. There she is. Hi. How are you today?
I'm doing great. Thanks for having me on the show today.
Absolutely. We're so excited to have you back. You were great the last time, so I'm sure it'll be just as superb this time.
Thank you.
So one of the things, one of the questions that just popped up, and I want to kind of give you a chance to hop onto this one, Hollis. I think you and Foster. I want to get y'all's takes on this one. Amber asked. She said, "I love all these questions. I fully support vetting the company as a good match. Back to my previous comment, fear. I'm just concerned that I don't have the luxury of asking these questions now, or should I just need to be grateful that they are talking to me at all? Is it feasible to grill an employer for the truth?" Oh, Foster's got a real strong opinion. Let's let him go first.
Guys, I've been in corporate America a long time. Now, in today's corporate America, you want to know what you're plugging yourself into. You should not feel timid to ask very probing questions. You are involved. The decision that you're going to make involves more people than just yourself.
Right.
Hey,
100%.
Catherine's got a family. I can't dominate all of Catherine's time. She's got things to do. She got to get to the beach, and she got to take people to the beach with her, and she got a new boat.
I know. I got dogs. I've got all kinds of things.
She got a sister in Waco. We all got to go to Waco. Y'all, Waco's more fun than y'all know.
It's gotten better.
I see Hollis was shaking her head too, so I'll shut up.
Yeah, Hollis, what do you have to say to that one?
Yeah, no, I was doing the same thing. I was shaking my head big time here because I think a lot of times the strategies that we're using right now to try to land a job quickly are the ones that are making it hard for us to actually get a job.
Yeah.
One of them, right? So if you've been furloughed, lost a job, just seeing the job market in general, it can really be a knock to our confidence.
Right.
And, companies are also scared about who they are hiring because they want somebody who's going to actually stay at their company and not somebody who's landing a bridge job quickly.
Yeah.
Right.
So when you're asking questions about the job, you're showing some serious interest and that you're investigating them and you want to match just as much as they do. So I think it's actually a huge win if you're still doing that, not a thing to be scared of at this time.
I 100% agree with you, Hollis. And I think too, and that was perfectly worded, by the way. And I think too that it's more important now than ever that you're doing that. Because it shows companies that you do still care, that you're not just desperate. And okay, it's kind of like in the dating world where you can smell desperation on somebody, right? You just know they got that stank on them, right? Like you just know that they're just desperate.
Not the stank.
That's not attractive. That's not attractive.
It's happening now with people searching for jobs for sure.
Yes, and so don't be desperate. Don't have that hint of desperation on you. Have a sense of I am confident. I know what I want, even if you're not. Fake it till you make it, okay? And get in there. And human beings have, I wish Michaela was still on for this little comment. We have a fight or flight response, right? All animals, and human beings are included in this, have fight or flight. A lot of people right now are in flight. They're afraid. They're like, oh my gosh, I don't know what to do. You got to get yourself in fight mode. Now, I have a tendency to immediately go to fight, which is not necessarily always beneficial. But when it comes to business, and when it, not physically fighting people, but when it comes when it comes to physical, when it comes to business, and when it comes to job hunting, I've always had the fight where I could just get, let's just go, let's just do this, and I know what I want, and I'm targeted. And I have tenacity about it. That's always been part of me. So if you don't feel that, find it. Listen to some music that gets you pumped up. Talk to that person that really pumps you up. Call Foster or Ryan or message us and get us to give you a speech. You know, you watch a movie clip that inspires you, something, but get that mentality when you're job searching, when you're interviewing. Get into fight mode, not flight, because flight will hold you back. Fight will move you forward.
I want the listeners to watch Hollis's face when I say this, because this is something I know that Catherine hears. But Catherine, you don't understand. I just need a job. Now look at your face.
There it was. That was the face.
Hollis gave us the stank.
That's a stank.
I just need a job. And so what I see even from a resume standpoint is people trying to broaden their skill set and try to be everything. Like I could I can't
even help those people.
You can put me in that exactly, because trying to be everything to everyone is the opposite of what's going to get you hired. You need to show them that you match what they're looking for. I'm with you. Those I just need a job is the candidate that is not going to interview.
And even if it's true, guys, even if it's true, keep it to yourself. You know.
Well, it's exciting to think differently. If you really need a job, then it's more important to find your niche, understand who you are, what you offer companies, so that you're putting that in the universe, and that somebody can take and help you get hired for. So you can go to a Foster, another,
100%. And Amber,
you can find that.
Right. And Amber, I'm with you. Yeah. Reach out to us and play that music. It works. I have some different songs that get me keyed up, and I'm a beast after I listen to those songs. So Hollis, your expertise is resumes, and you have some really interesting tips. So can you, and we've talked about the ATS and how that's a monster, but you still have to show your unique value. And it's just this whole hullabaloo. So you walk us through how you would tell people right now to present themselves effectively on a resume.
Sure. I think there's a lot of steps that we naturally miss because we just want the resume, right? We just think we need this piece of paper and that's going to be our job. And really there's steps we need to do beforehand. So we need to get clear on what we want and what we offer. Once you understand that, you have to create an action plan, because a resume is just one tiny piece of what you're putting out into the universe to help you get a job. So formulate your elevator speech, your talking points, and then create your resume. When you're creating your resume and also your LinkedIn profile and your elevator pitch, the most important thing to do is to be strategic. So to think with the end in mind. So to say, if I am looking for an account executive role at an advertising agency, then what skills do I have? What experiences have I gained that would help me get that job? So it's thinking backwards, and then you create your resume with that in mind. And one thing that we often think a resume is just a history of all of the responsibilities and jobs we've ever had. And it is not. It's a tool to show why you're qualified for the job you want next. So just those little flips in thinking immediately help us approach our resume writing and our job search differently. And I usually tell people, of all the things you do, and I know you don't usually hear resume writers say this, but of all the things you do, start your resume last. You start having the conversations first. Start getting connected. Start talking to people about what's available. You're likely to get a job through somebody you know, not through a CS system or online. So quit focusing on the resume. You do need one. But really what you need is to get clear on what it is that you offer. So I work with my clients on that too, and getting clear on what it is that you offer and writing the resume, because it can be big time consuming thing for a lot of folks. And right now we don't all have the time for it.
100% yes. So when it comes to relaying your personal value on your resume, what are your recommendations? What are your tips for that?
Sure. My recommendations for being clear on your unique value is, number one, not to try to manufacture something. So to really think back and look at the experiences that you've had and when you feel like you've been most successful, and to find the common thread between all of them. So usually you can look back, and it doesn't just have to be work, but when were you volunteering where you thought you were really successful? What kind of projects? Is it that you're always turning around challenging accounts and
right.
Or are you the one who finds a solution when nobody else can? Like, what is your common thread? And that is the basis that you can use to start articulating your unique value. And from there, you can build your resume in a way that shows experiences that match up to that summary, that elevator of who you are. And your job experience is really your street cred. Yep, been there, done that. It's not your end all be all. I think a lot of us want to not leave out any single responsibility we've ever had for fear.
Right.
Nobody's gonna like it, but really showing that you can be strategic is one of the most important things. It's the top skill that we see employers even looking at and think, you can be strategic. So showcase it on your resume. If you can't, you will not get hired for a job.
Right.
And that's just being blunt.
Right. And being, and I tell you, being on the other side of the desk, be clear about what you do. Please do not put some vague description. I have literally had titles combined with job descriptions where by the time I read the whole thing through twice, I still had no clue what they'd done. Not a single clue. You have to remember that you're telling somebody who doesn't know you what you do, right? So you have to relay it. It's like that thing they had us do in school, right? Where you write a essay teaching somebody how to make a peanut butter and jelly sandwich, right? It sounds so simple, but when you sit there and you have to break down all the steps and everything, realizing that you're talking to somebody who doesn't know how to do it, it's kind of the same thing with the resume, right? You've got to kind of hold out there. So what about beating the ATS? Because we've talked about this. Now with recruiters, first of all, shame on you if you're a recruiter and you have your ATS set to filter out anything at all. You should be looking at everything that comes your way if you're a recruiter. But for the big companies, the HR people have no control over that, right? So the truth is, if you're going to apply to bigger companies, you have to be able to beat an ATS. And with some recruiting companies out there too. How do you go about beating the ATS?
Sure. And I know there's a lot of resume writers who specialize in beating the ATS system. And I have a big bank that I recommend to people. And that is important. It's unfortunate now that if you want to work at a large company, you have to have two resumes, the ATS resume, and it's pretty ugly. So also a resume that you'd actually circulate to your friends. So my way of beating the ATS system is probably not what you hear from most resume writers. And it's to start talking to people.
I love that.
But find someone else who works at that company who can also submit your resume. That's the way to beat it. There's no
100%.
You spend way too much time thinking there's some fancy algorithm in LinkedIn and
I know
answer a word we can put on our resume. When the truth is, we just have to become more confident about getting out there and having conversations with people.
Yes,
so
that is
100%. Yeah. And it's okay if you're an introvert, guys. Again, I want to stress this. It is okay to be an introvert. You can still do these things. LinkedIn messaging kind of gives you that buffer. You can send emails. A lot of big companies have email directories. Get on there. Sorry, my glasses are bothering me today. Get on there and connect with people, even if you don't want to have a personal conversation or a video chat if that makes you uncomfortable, still connect to them. And Hollis, I want to also ask you your opinion. What are you seeing that's different right now with COVID going on and everything now reclosing and and all that? What are you seeing?
As far as jobs are concerned,
or how your candidates are feeling and how they're responding to this.
Got it. I think there's a lot of fear out there and unknown. And one of the things that can be shaking our confidence at the moment is just the media and all of the news that there's no jobs. It's hard to get a job. Will they be extending the unemployment? benefits that have come through. So there's just a lot of fear talk, and I think we're focused on the fear. That's the big thing that I've really heard. And I think that there's a great opportunity right now because we're also all in the same boat. There's a lot of camaraderie that can happen through this. And choose for the camaraderie to be around fear, or choose for it to be around uplifting each other and helping each other. And
100%.
I just think the greatest way to even land a job is by helping other people and not even putting out trying to circulate who can help me. It's just that idea of starting to share.
And
this is what I do. I can help you in that capacity in your personal life. Let me do it. And then things come back around to you in the career space too.
It's so true. And guys, when we tell you to connect to these folks that are coming on the show and all that, do it because they know people. And if you go to these different events and you circulate around, eventually it will pay off. It may not be as quickly as you'd like. I'm not going to lie to you. I'm not going to tell you that in 30 days you'll definitely have a job. That's not true. But if you get out there and you circulate, the more you circulate, the more effective it is. Get out there and really spend time and target people that work around the space in which you want to be.
Yes, and what I tell people too is start listening to this advice early. Oftentimes, it's 3 months in when they hear this advice, but then they still go about trying to apply online for jobs because that feels safe and it's how they got their last job. And then after 3 months, they start having that panic that nobody wants them. Not that they're trying to apply for jobs in a way that doesn't even work anymore. That doesn't occur. What occurs to them is that something's wrong with them. And so I just suggest listen to these tips, start talking to people, get clear on what you offer, and start this quickly so that you're searching in the right way for jobs now.
Right. And I do want to address something real quick because something that you said made me, and I know that this isn't what you meant, but it just popped into my head, this ridiculous post I saw on LinkedIn. Somebody actually posted, and I'm not going to give any names or anything, but they actually posted that something like 75% of jobs aren't even posted anywhere. You just have to know somebody. That is not accurate. I just want to put that out there. Now, you do need to also communicate with people to get.
Not that high.
Right. You do need to still connect with people, like Hollis is saying, and like we've said throughout the show. You still need to connect with people, make that personal connection. But you can still apply on Indeed and potentially get a job that way. You can still apply on ZipRecruiter, Monster. Definitely check out Project Help You Grow. You can see them on our website, careerlaunch2020.com, or go to their site directly. Recruiters, because here's the thing, guys. For compliance reasons, companies have to post jobs. Okay, this is just fact of life. So most jobs actually are posted. So I don't know where this person got their information, or if they just said it to try to sell their product. I don't know. But that is absolutely not true.
Well, what I do think is true, though, Catherine, is that while there is a large segment of jobs that are not posted, there are an even larger amount of jobs that are posted with a candidate already in mind.
Right.
That is actually the bigger problem. It's not so much that they're not there. Yeah. It's not so much that they're not there. They post them because, like I said, compliance, right? They're supposed to post them. So that's why you also need to know people. That's why you have to do both, right? Do apply because sometimes that works, but don't spend all of your job energy on that, right? Do some of that. Yeah. Change it up. Do something different.
Spend more time connecting with people than you do applying and looking for jobs online. If there's one skill I can recommend to people, it would be that. So start sending your resume to people and just connecting and getting back out there and being part of your professional community again.
100%. And we kind of got to get ready for our next guest, who I'm very excited about. But Hollis, can you tell people how to connect with you and kind of reach out to you?
My website is career-design.com, and you can also find me on LinkedIn, LinkedIn-Hollis Roberts, and I would absolutely love to connect with you, and I just want to see people land jobs they love. So if I can do something for you, while I do this for a living, I just want to help people genuinely. So I will answer any question you send me in my inbox and point you in any direction I can to get the support you need.
Guys, Hollis is a good one. She's got all the energy. She's got the right attitude. And she will help you in any way that she can.
You see how we are down here in Dallas?
Right. I know, Big D. That's my home. That's where I'm from. And real quick, we did have a comment from Deborah Wolf again. Companies post jobs that are not valid, that they aren't really filling, or that are posted every month as though it is new. Here's what's happening there. A lot of times it's something with, like they said, where they already had a candidate in mind, which stinks, but it happens. The other thing is sometimes it's not that they're not that they're not filling it. Sometimes they expect high turnover. That can be it. Or they're just lazy and didn't take it down. That also happens too. It could be all three. But thank you so much, Hollis. Have a wonderful day. Everybody connect to Hollis. She's amazing.
Hollis. Bye.
Bye, Hollis. All right. So our next guest, we're going to be specifically focusing on how to pivot, especially across industries and into completely new roles, because this is a question that we get a lot on this show and something you and I talk about a lot, right, Foster?
Oh, that's what the folks were talking about at our HR focus group this morning. That was the topic. Yeah.
Yes, it is the big topic of the day. So we're going to bring on somebody who actually has quite a bit of talent in this arena, Joel Knapp. We're going to show his little intro. He is the COO of my company, Titan Management.
All right.
He and I have worked together in every capacity imaginable, and known each other for years. Let's bring on Joel.
Cool.
Let's see, where is he? There he is. Hello. You're a little off center. Hey, Joel. Woohoo! You're on.
Hello. Can everyone hear me?
Yeah, you're a little off center. Can you fix the camera a little? There you are. Hi.
Hello.
There you are. Yeah, we can hear you.
I was too, Joel.
I can't hear anyone.
I don't know. I think Joel's having some technical issues. Nina, I don't know. Can you message him and try to help him out? See if see what he can do. But we'll kind of keep talking while Joel's going. So we have why do so many companies post jobs when the plan is to hire internally? The answer to that is actually not so simple. It's or it is so simple, but it's very frustrating. It's not so easy to hear. It's compliance, and it's to look like they're putting in an effort. When they really know who they want, they've got to pretend that they don't. They've got to do so many interviews. A lot of times it's an internal policy telling them that they have to interview so much.
Sometimes they get ahead of the curve because a lot of people, when they post a job, they have an idea in their head whether there's going to be somebody internal that they want to hire anyway. So if they can get the resume flow going, if that internal person doesn't pop up, hey, in my inbox, I have some people that I might be able to consider.
Right. Absolutely. Absolutely. Joel, do we have you now? I can hear you. Joel. Hold on, guys, give us just a minute. I'm going to let Foster talk to you a little bit about some of the different reasons that companies post the way that they do, and some of the things going on with all of that, so that I can then go help out and get offline a little bit and go help out Joel.
Absolutely.
Nina, can you take me out, please?
Companies, there's me. I got it all by myself. So guys, companies post jobs. A lot of times, they don't really keep up with the postings that are on the websites. So it boils down to us to keep up with them, especially if we're able to connect and make a conversation with someone and we have a point of contact inside of that company. We want to keep up with what's going on. And sometimes, guys, the posts that you see on some of the websites are old. They're no longer there. It's frustrating for us. Corporations, the only problem with working for a company is that people work there. Pause for effect. So there are a number of things in the process. There's a number of things that we have to consider. And Joel is
he's back on with us. We got him.
We got Joel back. And there's
yay.
So I'll let you guys alone.
Oh, no, you're good, Foster. So first of all, Joel meet Foster, Foster meet Joel.
Hey, Joel, I sent you a LinkedIn, sir.
Oh, nice to meet you. Yeah, I'll get that accepted right as soon as we're done here.
Good. Yeah, I like the color of your shirt. Hook 'em horns.
That's right.
Hook 'em horns. Hook 'em horns. So Joel, I introduced you. You work with Titan now and all this, and you've had a really interesting career. But I want to start at one point. You were working in the debt settlement industry, and some interesting things happened that led to a career pivot. So let's start with that. Let's start with what happened there and what led you to a career pivot.
Well, I don't want to dwell on what happened too much. Basically, there were some banking industry changes and some government regulations that kind of rendered our industry obsolete almost overnight. So unfortunately rendered my career obsolete at the same time. But what I found was only parts of it, because the lessons that I was able to learn there, and what I mean by that is the basic philosophy that you are providing someone with the service. You are providing a customer or consumer with the service. And if you have that in the front of your mind at all times, or at least as much as possible, then that is a very transferable skill.
Right.
And I transferred about as far away as you could get. I went from credit card resolutions to the transportation and moving industry.
Oh, wow.
Yep.
I went to work for some of the best as 2 men in a truck. Anybody that knows about moving, or if you've ever moved before.
Yeah, you've seen them around town, right, Foster?
Yeah.
There's a reason. I mean, they're not the cheapest, but they're the most around because they have a commitment to doing things the right way.
Right.
And they weren't afraid to bring me in. Actually, they were excited to bring me in. Even though I didn't have experience, they said they wanted that.
Mm-hmm.
So tell us what specifically about you and about your presentation of yourself to them led them to that decision.
Actually, some of that's just going to come down to luck and serendipity. They were actually looking for people outside the industry to bring in some fresh perspectives, and I think that's one of the things that actually made them successful in the Dallas area, was that
idea.
Willingness, that curiosity, or that willingness, that drive to bring in new ideas and new people from other industries.
Right.
So as much as I wanted to learn something new and do something I had never done before, they wanted just the opposite, and it worked out beautifully for everyone, I think.
It did, and I like I told everybody, I've known you for years and years and years. So it worked out very successfully, and you've maintained those relationships and still talk to them. But then you did something real interesting. So then you become successful, and you work around the whole district with 2 men in a truck, and then you get a phone call, and you're asked to make another career pivot.
So we almost kind of went back. Instead of credit cards this time, it was student loan debt. But a lot of those, a lot of the credit card skills were still applicable.
Right.
But I was able to come in with some new perspective. I learned a lot from the moving and transportation industry. A different type of service, a different type of sense of urgency that came from that. Labor guys do things a different way. And it doesn't make necessarily one thing right and one thing wrong, but you can take lessons from anywhere as long as you're paying attention.
Right.
So I was able to bring some of that over. Some of those other lessons, and really make an impact right away. And that company grew like wildfire, because we had a small team, but a very great team. Not afraid to put on different hats, not afraid to put in the hours, especially up front.
So when you interviewed, I want to pause there, because you had a very unique, and I know because I was doing the staffing for that company. So I would send you people, and then you interviewed them and hired them. So how did you choose those people? Because they didn't come from your industry. There was basically nobody with industry experience, right? So how did you find the right characteristics and decide, hey, this is the person I want to give a shot to?
Great questions.
Well, with the tiny industry, you're not going to find somebody within the industry.
Right.
But I had kind of learned a lesson from 2 men in a truck that it's okay to bring people in from a very different industry that have a very different experience than you, and they are going to bring something to the table that you've never seen before. And if you're paying attention, you will learn from them. No matter if they are a fellow employee, if they're a manager, if they're an employee below you and you're the manager, you can still learn from them, and you should be learning from them.
100%. Yes, 100%. And I think too, one of the things that Foster and I have been seeing a lot of is that people are afraid to pivot right now, right? So, and you've hired people that had to pivot because there was no other choice, and you've been the one pivoting. So, you know, how did you overcome that fear? Let's start with that. How did you overcome that fear that led you to be able to pivot several times very successfully?
Oh boy. I don't know that I have that much fear about it. But I think
yeah.
Because why not? No, wait, let's address that. Why not?
Well, I kind of have a confidence that I'm going to be able to learn it. But part of that probably comes from when I'm at AFC, or when I'm at 2 Men in a Truck, or Citibank, or wherever I've been here with Titan. I'm going to put on as many hats as I possibly can. I want to expand. I want to know the jobs on either side of me. I want to know the one above me. I want to know the one below me.
Right.
So because of all that, I think that just kind of lends itself to, if you're going to completely change companies, change cities, change industries, which I've done. I've done all those things in the last 10 years. It doesn't bother me, because that's basically what I'm doing every day. When I show up 9 to 5, I'm doing the same thing anyway.
Can I meddle a little bit, since I'm in the middle of both of you guys? I'm going to try to build a bridge for Catherine. So right. Joel, just now, I've been a recruiter for a long time, and my dad was a pastor, so I think I'm fairly good judge of character here. Listen, when I'm listening to Joel right now, Joel sounds very believable. He doesn't sound like he's a person that's going to try to pull some answer out of the sky that he doesn't have any experience with. That's number one. Right. But I bet that Joel is a relational person, and I bet that the people that he talked to when he was thinking about taking this job I never thought about before, those people made him feel as though, hey, maybe we make you feel comfortable in that we're listening to you, Joel, and we're liking. When you talk to people, come on now, y'all know whether you get along with people or not. And it means a lot, and it probably helped Joel 100%. Moving forward, making the decision whether he wanted to, as we say in Texas, fool with 2 Men in a Truck.
That's right.
Right. And that's so true.
That's my whole life, and that's what I do here in Dallas. So yeah.
You filled in a lot of blanks, and you're 100% right. Whether I've been, I've been here recruiting for a while. I've been a hiring manager. I've been interviewed for jobs before. A lot of what I did with 2 Men in a Truck was to find drivers and movers, because that's always a challenge in the industry. I'm looking for a personality. I can teach you the job, or if I'm on the other end, I can learn the job if you can teach it. And I think that's actually true with a lot of industries. If you're a manager, if you're a hiring manager, your job backwards and forwards. You probably started on the same level that your employees are on right now. And you know that job, and you can probably teach it to most people. So really, if I have advice for hiring managers is, glance at the resume, but interview the human being. Get to know them.
100%.
If
yes.
Trevor's watching, Trevor, if you're watching, grab those mics that we got in the studio and drop those mics whenever.
Drop that mic.
Whenever we hear those things, we drop that mic, baby.
Drop the mic.
That's
they
right.
literally physically drop a mic. It is a true thing. And we have a question.
Awesome. Yeah.
We have a question for you guys, and I'm gonna let the gentleman handle this one. What do you feel is the most effective strategy to change locations effectively?
if you're talking about different cities, I might be the last person to ask. My last move was a mess. We had to do it like 4 times.
I think they mean like if you're looking for a job in another area, how you find that and how you make those connections, I think is kind of where they're going with that.
You just said it, Catherine, making those connections. I am a networker, guys. I created the Career Search Network. So if I have an opportunity, and I have had an opportunity before I had to turn down a job in Phoenix, and I didn't turn it down, Patty Bashy, because it was hot. Some of the considerations that I made were, okay, what does my industry look like in this area? Because of the dynamics that we have in corporate America today, what if this job doesn't work out? What am I looking like? Do I have another opportunity around where I have established my new living quarters? Is there an opportunity there that I may find another opportunity to stay there, to move forward in the same industry? Can I pivot to another industry? Is there family, friends? All of those things are considerations. And Amber, I hope that I'm hitting a chord with you, but I guarantee you Joel's going to be able to tell us something about that as well.
I kind of go in with the attitude that it's going to work. I guess I'm kind of picking up where you might have already found something, or you have an area where you want to go. Maybe you have interviews set up already. Once you get there, I kind of have a burn the ships attitude. Once you land, you get rid of the ships. That way you do not have a way to go back. You don't need it because this is going to work.
There's a lot of considerations outside of the ABCs and 1, 2, 3s of the job. There's a lot of considerations to take if you're going to reload. So Catherine wants to get me out to Port St. Lucie, Florida. I'm already smiling because I'm thinking of beach, but there's a lot more personal considerations that each and every one of us have to take. Joel, Foster, and Catherine may not be able to tell you what it is that is important to you, but you know what that is.
Right. And guys, just network in the area, reach out to people, get to know people, reach out to recruiters, connect to us, connect to Joel. He's great. He'll respond super, super fast. He does just like Foster and I. And he made one final very interesting career pivot when I finally, after so long of trying to convince him, got him to join Titan. And he's really helped take us to the next. I'm very tenacious. We've discussed this, and I'm very determined. That's something Trevor and I share. He was on the show earlier. Yeah, he was on the show earlier. Very, very focused. And when I get something in my mind, that's how it goes. But you need, and we talked about this earlier too, finding people that complement. And when you're looking for a job, or when you're looking for people to hire, either direction, make sure that you complement each other, right? Make sure the company complements your goals so that you complement their goals. Discuss goals, discuss objectives, and make sure that you and the manager meet your manager. Don't ever take a job without meeting your manager. I've talked to people that have done that. It never goes well. Ooh. Meet the manager. Make sure that you jive, right? That's
absolutely.
So
what
crucial.
Does that job look like? Yeah. What does the job look like? Are you really excited about that? Who are you going to work with? Are you going to work with Catherine McCord? You know how she is.
Yep. Yeah. She's crazy. She won't ever let things go.
No, that's a good point. You're going to be spending a lot of time with these people. Some people forget that, but you actually spend more waking hours with these people than you do your own family. Yeah. So yeah, it's a good idea, understatement, to meet them.
Yes. It is, and it's so important. And I think the other thing too, try to meet coworkers, try to network with potential coworkers. Get on LinkedIn, get on different sites like that, and find out who the coworkers are and connect to them. And try to get their perspectives and really talk to them. If you get a chance to interview with them, say, hey, can I hop on a call with a couple of the team members? Ask. Companies will set that kind of stuff up for you, especially if you're later in the interview process. Maybe not up front, but they'll definitely be willing to do that kind of stuff later. Joel, there's one more question I wanted to ask you about real quick, because it's something you and I deal with a lot. And that's getting through the offer letter phase. And Foster, I know you're going to have some opinions on the offer letter phase too.
I'll be quiet.
Any recruiter watching is going to have some opinions on this.
Oh, yeah.
Good point,
So one thing that I wanted to stress to people out there is ask your questions before you get to the offer letter stage. Because Joel, what happens if you don't?
I mean, everything grinds to a halt. Everybody's frustrated. That's when things start to fall through.
Relationship.
You can lose the opportunity.
And you can lose the opportunity. If you're the hiring company, you can lose a good candidate. I mean, because that works both ways, obviously.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, iron these things out. Know what's important to you. Write it down if you have to, and communicate it.
Yeah.
Yes. Before the offer letter stage.
Yeah. And that goes for companies and candidates. That goes for everybody.
That's true. Yeah, that is both-sided.
Yeah, we have to. A lot of times we overlook the fact. Now, Catherine and I, being recruiters, we talk about this all the time. But time is money, and it is costly to hire a Joel. If I don't have a Joel, it's going to cost me some money to hire Joel, and it's going to cost me some money to keep Joel.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, sir.
It's so true. It's so very true. And we're getting a lot of compliments in the comments. Thank you, everybody. We really appreciate the comments. And thank you, Joel, for coming on. We're going to have to say goodbye now to keep the time rolling. But thank you so very much. We really appreciate you being on today.
Joel.
My pleasure. You guys have a great rest of your show.
Thank you.
Thank you, Joel.
All right. And by the way, we did have a comment that specifically said that they did not meet their manager before getting hired and that didn't go well. So see. Uh-oh. Yeah, you've gotta know your team. You've gotta know who you're gonna be working for. And again, do look for people that have attitudes of service. That's the main thing.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, attitudes of service. So we have our second levity segment of the show coming up. We're gonna speak to Mr. Anthony Brown, who is a very, very interesting person and a wonderful performer as well. Anthony, are you with us? Let's see. Do we have Anthony? Oh. Hello. All right. So I guess we'll kind of keep talking so we get Anthony on. I don't know what's going on here. I don't know. Oh, I think he's having technical issues. I'm looking at the guest. That's okay. We'll kind of talk for a little bit. I'm sure
Catherine and I can do that.
Yeah, we'll bring him in once he's on here. So we'll kind of go back and forth for a little bit. So I think that it's really kind of talking about that last little kind of bit of advice that we gave you with the offer letter and all that. Also, know your value going in. Know what you expect. Know what's important to you, and don't be afraid to hold on to that. And to insist that you get what you're worth, but also be flexible to an extent. Know how you're willing to be flexible, know where you're comfortable being flexible, but be prepared to be a little bit flexible because different companies pay in different ways, right? Sometimes they have great equity plans, great bonus plans. Sometimes it's all base. Kind of be prepared for all of that. Right. Any insight on that department, Mr. Foster?
Yeah, I want to make application before I even make my point. So I'm going to ask Catherine a question, you guys. Catherine, are you a person or are you a machine?
I'm pretty sure I'm a person.
Okay.
Pretty sure.
And we hire people right in these corporations. The only problem with corporate America, and I said it when you were gone a while ago, the only problem with corporate America is that people work there. So,
right.
So guys, when you are in the process of considering a new job, if it feels robotic, if it feels cold, if it's very, very, I don't know, mechanical, that is probably the way they operate in that company. And if that makes you feel uncomfortable, that's not the place for you.
100%.
And so we want to know. Believe me, Foster, I need a job, money. Oh my God. Foster will tell you, make sure you know what you're plugging yourself into.
Absolutely. It's imperative. You have to, and especially in today's market, you really have to do that. You have to be able to say, okay, this is the direction I'm going. And these are the kind of people I want to be around and all that. You still have choices. I know it doesn't always feel that way. And with COVID going on, it's been very stressful. So it doesn't always feel that way, but it is still a candidates market to the extent that you always have a choice. It doesn't matter how saturated the candidate market is, you always have a choice.
Always.
And as we've discussed earlier, no stank. Go with the stank on. No desperation.
No stank.
Don't reek of desperation.
Craig Fisher and I have been friends for a long time. He's coming up. You guys are going to get a chance to talk to him. But we talk about this stuff, going through the process of finding out what we need to find out, guys, about these jobs. You will be able to determine how that company operates and whether you feel comfortable going to work there. If you do not, Catherine, what do you think I'm going to tell them if you don't
do it? Back out. Say no, thank you. Adios. Adios.
Drop the mic.
Drop the mic. Get done with you. Move on to the next
company and drop.
Swipe left. Swipe left.
And Craig will be telling you guys some of these things that we do behind the scenes, kind of to ascertain some of this stuff.
Oh yeah, and I tell you that it's so imperative. It really, really is. And the other thing too, when you're looking at these companies, how excited are the people you're speaking to be there?
Yeah.
What's their energy level like? That'll tell you a lot. Are they running around like chickens with their head cut off? That's not going to change just because you come on board. Okay. It's always going to be like,
we have priorities in corporate America, and not all of them are comfortable. We get thrown under the bus, and a lot of times we have to dig ourselves out of the hole that's been either created for us or that we created ourselves. So in that process, where does Foster fit in there is what I want to know.
Right. Yes, exactly. Yeah. Just put it out there and be direct with people. Oh, one thing, guys, I keep forgetting to mention this on the show. I am giving away 2 resume consultations directly with me. So if anybody out there, or if you know someone that needs it, what we're going to do is just message me on LinkedIn. We're going to put your name into almost like it's a virtual one, but almost like a hat, and shake it around, and then we'll draw out 2 names of people that will get the free consultations with me directly. So if you or someone you know is in need, please have them connect with me and message me on LinkedIn, and then we'll take care of that. We also have our scholarships as well. We're very, very excited about those. So we have Tony. We finally have Tony. All right, let's get Tony on. There he is. Hey!
All right,
Tony. How are you? Having technical difficulties.
Tony, we can't hear you. So much, me and Catherine are having a good time.
We are. It's all right. And he's such a talented singer too. This is so depressing. Like he's so good. All right, we'll take him back out. That's okay. Maybe next time. Oh no. I know, technology. And guys, you always remember our guests are having to figure all this out as well too. And y'all saw my malfunction. My camera fell over earlier.
That was good. You guys should have been here for that.
What y'all really should have seen was what was going on while Misty was doing her yoga segment. Because the way Foster and I looked while that was going on was just comical. But y'all couldn't see us.
We were trying to participate.
We took ourselves out, but we did
There's Tony's balcony.
We got to see the balcony for a little bit. Yeah, we just we really had some fun with that segment as well. So Foster, one thing I want to ask you about too. So we've been talking about, keeping the energy up and all of that. What are you seeing in the job market? What words of encouragement can you offer based off of what you're seeing in the job market right now?
Goes back to when we first started. I know a lot of you guys that are here now weren't here in the beginning of when we first started this event. Guys, we're kind of snapping back now. Here's what I liken it to. Nobody told me this is just Fosterisms. So I think that we decided that we're not going to sit back and let our companies go away. Our ability to take care of our families and be able to live a decent life, we're not going to just let that go because everybody's afraid. We understand that. We will do whatever it is we need to do, but we cannot stop making a living for ourselves. And I do mean a living. So now, here in Dallas-Fort Worth, well, all over the nation, CSNs all over the nation, we are kind of snapping back. There's a lot of job postings. There's a lot of activity. Just last week, I think we had 13 landings, and those are just the ones that shared with us that we know about. So yeah, things are happening. I actually think that the COVID situation has brought us some blessings. I like the idea. Some of us being able to work from home gives us flexibility to take care of things that we weren't able to take care of before.
Yes.
Yeah.
100%. Yeah. And actually that's the one thing I am super excited to see is that all that's perking up. But let's go ahead and bring Craig in for this conversation, because I really want to hear what he's got going on. So
come on,
there he is.
Go. Yes, sir.
Hey. We can't hear him either.
There we go. We got it.
Yeah.
There you are. Now we got you. How are you today?
I'm good. How are you guys doing?
Doing good.
We're having
guys and ladies.
Me and you do.
Yeah, that's right. Well, so far, Foster, these Fosterisms sound very familiar to me.
Right. For those of us that are connected to Foster, we hear a lot of this a lot.
That's right.
Yeah, you guys probably hear me talk more times than you want to hear. Oh my God.
All right.
You know what's fun? I've been a kind of a professional speaker now for many years, and in addition to the actual work that I do. But when I started out, I wasn't always a professional speaker. I practiced by helping job seekers in career search groups that Foster ran all over Dallas and Fort Worth.
Craig and I dug ditches, man. We did.
That's right. Yep, we did. We dug all the ditches.
Yeah, we did. Now we're trying to pull ourselves out.
Yeah, that was 15 and 20 years ago.
15, 20 years ago.
Oh my goodness. So I have a question. So Craig, you've had a very interesting career, and one of the things that you've done is you launched a series of events that I knew about well before I knew you as a person.
Yep.
So tell us a little bit, first of all, about who you are and what you do, if you could.
So I'm a consultant to employers. I also help job seekers as a coach, but I'm a consultant to employers, and I help them communicate their corporate culture better to job candidates and help with employee engagement and executive leadership, brand presence, things like that. So my forte is really the employer and personal brand thing. But what I do is good for sales and marketing. And so I teach teams all over the world in all of those disciplines, sales teams, recruiting teams, how to use digital branding and marketing techniques to attract customers or great talent to themselves or their organizations. And I also do this for job seekers to help them attract the attention of employers. And in doing all this, I started kind of practicing what I preach. I'm a guy who does. I don't just say things.
That's true.
I show it, right? So I started speaking about it and talking about it, and I started my own conference to sort of walk the walk and invite my friends who are real smart to share what they know with recruiters all over the world. And this was back in a time, so I started the first Twitter chat for recruiters. That was back in 2008.
Yeah, that was back there.
That's right, TalentNet. And it was at a time where people didn't have money to go to a big conference.
Right.
And so they were complaining, and they said, we should just host our own because we've got all this great talent in the Dallas area. So in 2009, I hosted the first TalentNet Live conference. And that was at PepsiCo's Frito-Lay headquarters.
That was good.
That's right. And it was good. And Foster was there in the audience. He's in all the pictures. He's been to a bunch of them. And he's been a part of a bunch of them as well, which has been great for me. But so last year we celebrated our 10-year anniversary of hosting conferences. I host one every year in the spring in Austin, usually at Whole Foods headquarters on the first day of South by Southwest, and then one in Dallas at a corporate headquarters. And last year in November or December, I think it was December, we had about 350 people who were recruiting teams and their leaders join us at Toyota's North American headquarters.
Right.
And we're scheduled to be on site there again November 20th of this year. I'm not sure it's going to happen. We had to move. Had to move our Austin event that was supposed to be in March, and it will be next Friday on July 17th from 1 to 5 in the afternoon Central Time. And you can find out information about that at talentnetlive.com.
It's scrolling across the bottom, by the way, guys.
Talentnetlive.com. Right? And then you'll just click on the TalentNet Austin event. And if you want a discount on tickets, you can use discount code Pathlinks with a Y, PATHLYNKS. Okay. And that is Fanny Dunnigan's personal discount code. So I'm encouraging people to sign up with her discount code. And Pathlinks is a great partner of TalentNet, and Fanny does a whole lot of good stuff with us. So
and Fanny's another great one, guys. Connect to Fanny Dugan. I'm sure we can get her LinkedIn dropped here in the comments. So Nina, if you could please, she's phenomenal to connect with, and connect with Craig as well. Trust me, you will get great value connecting with him as well.
Craig, so I'm smelling something here.
There you go. All right, we got to talk.
Yeah, I'm gonna get Hannah to recruit.
So one thing, Craig, that I really wanted your opinion on, because you've been around the market for a long time. You've worked around recruiters for a long time, and you've worked outside of recruiting as well. So you know the business. You've got a good pulse on the market. So with everything changing right now with COVID and all of that, let's start with, what do you see happening with the job market? And what is your prediction, since they're saying that this is still the first wave and all of that? What is your prediction with what's going to happen in the job market?
So I think that the economy will bounce back faster than the job market will bounce back. So I think jobs are going to be the most latent issue that we have with this. They were one of the first things impacted, but they'll also be one of the last things to be fixed. Right. So we may be back to 80% by the end of next year, but we certainly will not be back to the type of unemployment numbers we had before all this happened until probably the year after. So I'm guessing there's a 2-year lag on this.
Yeah, there's 40 million people have been affected.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. Right. And a big part of it is going to be like restaurant workers and things like that where are they going to go? You know, right. Everything being shut down, it's going to heavily impact them. What about, so with that in mind, and obviously we're all very excited about the remote pivot, right? Do you think that that's something that's going to stick, that remote aspect?
Yes, I do. So I've talked to lots of leaders. I do a podcast on InsideTalent.org, where I talk to leaders all over the place about what their plans are, what their thoughts are about this. We've had lots of great conversations, and I'm finding that most companies are saying that they will not be back at full capacity in their offices until 2021 for certain, and that they will have the option of whether or not to be remote. And so I talked to a talent acquisition leader just yesterday at Cisco, and she's out in the Bay Area. And Foster, you know this lady. It's Day Strong. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Day.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And so I'm going to be training their recruiting team coming up pretty soon. Yeah. And she says, we're not going to be back in the office till 2021. And even then, I might not go back. I might go 1 day a week, but they're giving us that option. And that's a big company. That's Cisco, right?
Yeah, that's huge. Yeah, they're massive.
Yeah.
Yeah. For anybody that doesn't know what they are, I mean, that's enormous. That's almost like saying Allstate Insurance or something like that. It's a huge company.
We were asked to create a job seeker networking group at Microsoft campus right here in Dallas. And I think pretty much it's probably the same going on at Microsoft. I didn't talk to anybody there, but I would imagine that the same thing that Craig just said is probably going on at Microsoft as well.
Right. It's Pathlinks, by the way, PATHLYNKS. Not
That's right. That's right. Yeah. Not X.
That is the discount code for but back to Microsoft, Foster. You're talking about their campus right there on 161, right?
161.
Yeah, I've heard the same thing, that they are not planning to be back in full force until next year. And the same thing with VRBO in Austin. It's now TripAdvisor, their headquarters.
Yeah,
they will not be back. That's right.
So one thing too, guys, so we have a comment here. So honesty is great, but that is a terrifying figure and makes you feel like any job option is a good option. So one thing that we've been hearing a lot is if people have a desperate feeling, right? And like they just have to get a job. They just have to do this. Okay, a few things I'll say, and then I really want your opinion on this, Craig, is so just because the job market is changing, and just because and this is all guessing, by the way, guys, we don't know any of this. Okay.
Know.
So we don't know. We're guessing. Okay. This is just our thoughts based on what we're seeing. Okay. And let's say that the job, the unemployment numbers, it's going to take a while to get that back. Well, number one, remember that a lot of those are not going to be what's called professional level positions, right? So if that's what you're seeking, it's going to affect you a little bit less than some of the others, because restaurants and things like that are what's going to take a lot, and retail is going to take a really, really long time to come back.
That's right.
But so that's number one. So keep in mind what types of roles this is really going to impact. Number two is just because it's different. We're not saying necessarily either that there's not going to be a lot of jobs. A lot of jobs are staying remote. So one of the things that's happening, so when you hear Craig say that these people aren't going to be back in the office, he's not saying that there's no jobs at those companies, right?
That's right. Yeah.
Right. So they're just remote, which is kind of great, right? So then you can get a job with anybody. And if a company is not doing remote work right now, I almost don't even know what to say. Honestly, that's a whole other.
Yeah, and there's a good point about that, right? So you always want to apply to jobs where you actually fit the job, right? Because if you don't, you're just making it hard on recruiters to shuffle through to find the people who are a good fit. Okay.
Right.
There's technology that'll weed you out as well. But if you apply to too many jobs, a lot of these companies use the same technology. So if you apply to too many jobs that you're not a fit for, that algorithm learns about who you are, and you don't get put to the top for any job. So don't be the serial applier. But if you see a job that is a fit for you, but the location is not where you want to be, and you're not, willing to relocate, I say go ahead and apply to that job anyway, because there's a very good chance it could be done remotely.
Right. And also,
they don't all put remote work on there. So
that is true. They don't all. Some companies are still being stubborn, but not all of them put it on there. So that right now, in general, that wouldn't work. But right now with COVID, he's 100% correct. The other thing is, I know that you need to pay your bills. Okay. Nobody here is saying we don't get that. All right. And trust us, our jobs are not the same that they were before all of this either. Okay. In fact, some of the people that have been on the show today don't currently have jobs. They know what they're doing. They're experts, but because of everything going on, their business is paused, or their job they got furloughed too, or whatever. We all are in the same boat to some extent or another. Okay, guys. So here's what I say to that response. I just need to pay bills. I just need to pay bills. I just need to pay bills. First of all, again, don't ever show your desperation in any interview. That's not going to work. Just like we discussed, just like with the dating world, desperation's not attractive, right? It's not going to help you. The other thing is, do things like contract work to hold you over. There's a lot of contract jobs out there, guys. Do not limit yourself to full-time work right now. Take those contract jobs. Take those part-time jobs.
There's a reason for that.
Yes, take all of those jobs, because first of all, you never know what it's going to turn into. And also they'll tide you over until you do find that next role that really, really fits for you. Okay. So do those kind of things. That's how you tide yourself over effectively. And the other thing too is, always keep yourself open, and don't necessarily expect a job to be perfect. You need to be flexible too. It's important for the employer to be flexible and offer remote and good benefits and good pay and all that kind of stuff, and to be flexible, but you need to be flexible too. Okay. Just like in a relationship or anything else, nothing is perfect, right? And you have to be willing to be a little bit flexible too, and go a little bit outside of your comfort zone. And so one thing I see a lot is people will say, oh, I really, really need a job, but they won't commute 45 minutes, or they won't, or they won't take this job because they don't like the title, or they won't take this job because it would require a relocation. Well, guys, sometimes even if it's not what you want to hear, if there's a great job, you need to pick up and move. And I get that you have your kids and they're in school and all this kind of stuff. Kids will get over it. I did. Other people I know moved around as kids. They'll be fine. So while it's not ideal, don't hold yourself back with those kind of limitations either. And be open to different titles and different positions and different commutes and those kinds of things as well.
Even though And there is 40 million people out of a job. Craig and I know that you purple squirrels are still purple squirrels. You
That's
guys
right.
are hard to find. And you know what? If we find one of you guys and we've got a strong need, we find one of you guys, a company should be willing to do exactly what Craig said. You'd be surprised what you can work out for that particular
purple squirrel. He's got the purple squirrel. Look.
Yeah, I love it.
This is a big recruiting term, you guys. This is something that all of us say.
Craig
Finding
and
the purple
I use
squirrel.
the purple squirrel. Well, you are too, Catherine. So
oh, everybody knows about the purple squirrel. It's a thing.
Tell us what a purple squirrel is, guys, because a lot of people looking at us don't know what we're talking about. We're recruiters.
So when an employer wants something that is basically non-existent, for instance, they want a .NET developer for $40,000, right? That doesn't exist. That is a purple squirrel. So if you have a unique skill set, right, Liam Neeson.
That's called unique skill set.
The .NET developer with 20 years experience.
That's right.
Oh my goodness. Oh my gosh. Oh, so we had a couple of very interesting comments here that I want to address. One was Ellen O'Brien says, I had a contract job offer, but when the contracting company started the background check, they couldn't complete it because New Jersey is still shut down. Right. So sometimes you're going to have to pause a little bit. The other thing is they I don't know if the company may know this or not. You can actually still get get background checks completed. It's just very slow. It just may take a few weeks.
There's also a lot of companies that use an automated system. And so you don't need the state to be open for that. So don't be discouraged by that.
Right. Absolutely. Absolutely. So, and do keep looking for those. We also had a question. Is there a specific network that has a good contract placement that you would personally recommend? Network or website? Yes.
Upwork. Upwork is the place to be. So, I mean, you could join Fiverr as well if you do things like graphic design or ghostwriting and things like that. Fiverr and Upwork, Fiverr. And Upwork is just UPWORK. Also, if you're technical, if you're a developer or something like that, then definitely dice.com is a great place to go find contract jobs.
Also, Project Help You Grow that we keep pushing, and you can also see their job listings on our site, which is careerlaunch2020.com. They have jobs all over the world. They have contract jobs, they have part-time jobs, they have all that. Definitely connect to those guys. Also, look for local recruiting firms in your area. Okay, we're not necessarily going to know every recruiter that's ever existed, right? But you can message us privately. We might know somebody. But also just research recruiters in your area and look for them. Some of the big companies that specialize in contracts, you have in DFW, you have Manpower, you have Kelly Services, things like that. They have a lot of contract jobs right now. A lot. Yeah, a lot. And connect with Foster too. Check out his stuff. He'll help you out too, especially if you're in the DFW area.
Also, if you happen to be a recruiter or in the talent acquisition space, Google recruiters helping recruiters. And there's a network of resources for you there. So, and that was started by some very good friends of mine, Jerry Crispin and some other folks. And and it's a good network. Can I tell you a little story about this purple squirrel real quick?
Yes, let's do it.
So I got this for keynoting SourceCon a couple of years ago.
Oh man! Oh yeah.
Yep. And SourceCon is owned by ERE Media, a guy named David Manister, who's a friend of mine, and he and I and a lot of the other conference owners in the space are all having to pivot to this virtual event thing. Because we can't host in-person events anymore. And that's our bread and butter. Now, I also had a regular job. I was working for Allegis Global Solutions and was a consulting leader there. And it's one of the biggest staffing firms in the world. And I got laid off as well. But I have my pivot already set up and ready to go, right? My conferences are converting to virtual. I do this consulting work. And I go to 3 of the companies who would normally be a company that might hire me to be their head of marketing or head of consulting or whatever. I go to 3 of them and I say, look, I know that you could use a guy like me, but maybe you can't afford me right now. You can have a third of my time. And I'm going to pick 2 other companies that aren't competitors of yours. and give them a third of my time as well. And so it's a third, a third, and a third. And that's how I spend my time. And then my nights are spent putting on TalentNet and doing, other things. So
that's really interesting.
Yeah.
So I like that. Yeah.
Yeah. I like that.
Start your LLC right now, because it may be a little while before the right job that can afford you comes along. That's fine. Start your LLC and offer 3 companies, a third of your time, or do, a different kind of split. But you can absolutely do great work for a company by doing it that way. You may end up working more than a third, but it's going to help you pay those bills.
Well, and the truth is, and this goes back, I mean, even Anna Morgan, who you know as well, Craig, she's essentially said the same thing. Don't put all your eggs in one basket, and be prepared and have that pivot ready. So guys, get creative right now. This is the time. Yeah,
you'll see on my LinkedIn profile, and I highly suggest connecting with me there, because I do some really incredible LinkedIn SEO strategy and profile optimization stuff. And you'll see on my profile that I've had this job with TalentNet since 2008, right? Or 2010. So I forget when I started the LLC, but for a long time. And so anytime I'm between, what I would call a full-time employer, I am, working for TalentNet. So that pivot is already set up, and I keep it going in the background. I keep it active. I keep content going out through there so that that's never dormant. So my personal brand stays active all the time, no matter what. And very often when I go to work for a company, they maybe don't have the situation where they can hire a full-time employee right off the bat. So I go to work for them as a contractor first, and I say, you know what, let me get this set up. And if you like what I'm doing and want to continue it, if you've got an FTE position at some point, we'll pivot into that. No big deal.
Right. And guys, that's, by the way, exactly how my company got started. It was basically a side hustle, and it was part-time. And then I just went, okay, well, it wasn't exactly part-time, but it was a side hustle type thing. And it's taken off. So, I mean, guys, never be afraid to do that kind of thing. And thank you so much, Craig, for joining us. Definitely connect to Craig 100% on LinkedIn. We've dropped his profile into the comments. Connect to him, reach out to him, participate in his events. And what was that discount code one more time, Craig?
It's Pathlynks, PATHLYNKS, for cheap tickets to TalentNet, which will be a really great event. It's going to start off with a great conversation with Torrin Ellis, who is a diversity and inclusion leader in our industry, and we're gonna have some straight talk with Torrin for about 40 minutes, and a big Q&A session that is going to be outstanding.
Awesome. Thank you so very much, Craig. Have a wonderful rest of the day. We appreciate you being on.
Also, connect with me on Twitter and Instagram at FishDogs, and you can check me out at fishdogs.com if you need somebody to help you with a virtual event or to keynote a virtual event. I'm at your service.
Absolutely.
He is the best. He is the best.
He is, guys. And so thank you so much, Craig. Have a wonderful rest of the day. And I think you guys, one thing real quick, I just want to throw this out there before we bring in our last guest of the day. It's been a great show, first of all. And thank you so much for everybody that's come on and all the great advice that's been given and all the wonderful guests that are participating and asking questions. That's why we're here. We want to help you. Don't forget, we do have the scholarships for the five giveaways for the Scrum Master certifications. All you have to do is connect with me on LinkedIn, message me, let me know you want to be included. Same thing if you want to do one of the free resume writing sessions with me, or if somebody you know would be interested in that. Also, if somebody you know would be interested in one of the scholarships, if you know an IT professional or a PMP or something like that that would like that, have them connect with me. I'll send them the details to get entered into the contest to win those prizes and the scholarships and the resume writing. So let's bring on our last guest. We have Miss Sandra Lee. She's very interesting, wonderful energy. I'm very excited to have her on. Let's see if we can actually get her on the screen here. There she is. Hi, Sandra.
Let me move my camera. There we go.
There you go. Oh, uh-oh. Don't drop it like I did mine earlier. It's not, oh, now we just got... There's an old movie with Debbie Reynolds that you just reminded me of right now. It's called Mother, and you just reminded me of that movie, and it's one of my favorites.
Oh, heaven.
It's so funny. Oh, heavens. Go. There we go. Now we got you. You're good.
Do it at an angle. Sorry.
There we go. Yay. All right. So here we have Sandra. I'm going to let her tell you. She's got a very interesting career, so I'm going to let her. Oops. So I'm going to let her introduce herself, and then we'll kind of go from there.
Sandra, don't feel bad because Catherine went through all of this at the beginning, pre-show.
Pre-show, yeah, and then I dropped my camera.
Well, thank you. Thank you so much for having me on this show. And wow, what a great lineup of speakers and topics you had today. It is an honor to be on this show and to be able to wrap it up by talking about the importance of keeping your goals front and center while staying healthy. Both of those things are so important. Our health is paramount because without our health, nothing else matters, as the coronavirus so clearly shows. And one of the biggest threats to our health is the fear swirling around us, because our fear causes stress and lowers our immune system. So if we have time later on, and none of the other guests have covered this, I'd love to share a tool that you always have with you that you can use to quickly shift your nervous system from fight, flight, and freeze mode to the relax, restore, create mode of the parasympathetic nervous system. But first, I want to talk about the importance of keeping your goals front and center and how you can do that more easily. Henry Ford said, obstacles are those frightful things you see when you take your eyes off your goal. The problem is that the obstacles are so darn good at grabbing our attention, and we end up feeding those fears with our energy, and guess what? They grow. But if your goal or your dream is something you're in love with, it's far easier to keep it front and center in your mind and not be distracted by the obstacles and fears. And that's why it's so important to start with the end in mind, and that the end be something you would love. To discover what you truly love, ask yourself this one question: what would I love? Don't ask, what do I think I can do? What will the economy let me do? What do other people say I should do? The problem is there's no passion in that. And without passion for your vision, you won't have the rocket fuel you need to push you past the obstacles, your paradigms, the no's that you're going to receive along the way. And the keeps jumping
around. Amen.
Sorry about that.
No, you're fine.
Just ask, what would I love? And then listen to the longing and discontent in your heart and give yourself permission to dream big. Jim Carrey once said, you can fail at what you don't want, so you might as well take a chance on doing what you love. And since we're focused on career—
It's a great quote. That is a great quote.
It's so, a mic dropper.
It's so true.
Yeah, that is a mic dropper. I like that.
So since we're focused on career today, imagine what you would love to be doing to express your unique talents. Who would you love to be working with? How do you want to feel while you're doing that? So you can use this one question for everything. Visualize how you would love it to all work out. See yourself receiving multiple job offers. See them bidding for your services. See yourself happily working in that position. See the audience rise to their feet to give you a standing ovation. See yourself healthy and strong regardless of COVID, whatever your dream is. Because Napoleon Hill, who wrote Think and Grow Rich, he said, whatever the mind can conceive and believe, the mind can achieve. So the first key to getting what you want is knowing what you want with great clarity, because there's a lot of power in clarity. And then you want to fall in love with that vision and build a burning desire for it so it stays front and center in your mind at all times. It becomes your true north. And then feed that vision with all your energy and attention and starve your fears. So if you build a burning desire for your goal, you'll have no trouble keeping it forefront in your mind.
100%. I agree with that 100%. I think that, Foster and I both have started companies. We've started shows. We've done all the, and you have to have that fire, and you have to have that tenacity.
Yeah.
Right.
Not there.
And you have to dream big, because that's what's going to help you to be successful. And big is different for different people. Don't feel like that because that you want to be a success. Good grief. I know a woman, and she is the best executive assistant you could ever meet in your entire life, and she loves it, and that was her fire, and she takes care of those CEOs, and she's killer. and that's her dream, and she loves it, and she is the best of the best of the best. And I've known people that are politicians and all this, and whatever that looks like for you, that just find the fire for that and just let it drive you.
Right.
And don't be afraid of it.
Catherine's talking about you.
There we go.
That's perfect. There we go. Yay!
All right.
Oh.
So one thing I wanted to ask you too, Sandra, because I mean, you help empower people, right? To especially women. You focus on women, and one thing I like to talk about when I talk about the history of me and my career, and I know you've probably experienced this too. And every group is discriminated against, whether it's age, race, or gender, whatever. Everybody has, or the disabled, you have something that people discriminate against you for, and that they target with you. You get targeted with comments and attitudes and all this kind of thing. And for gender, these are the things, and it's with me specifically because of how I am as a person. These are the things I've been told. You're too assertive. You're too loud. You're too opinionated. You're too this, you're too that. You need to do things the way other people do them. You need to comply. And what's really interesting, and I think they say that to men too. Yeah, no, you absolutely do not. But I think they say that to men too, and that's the most insane thing I've ever heard in my life. If you just do what everybody else does, then why are you there? Yeah, that makes no sense. Right. So finding that voice, and I never listened because I was raised by a very strong and empowered woman, and my grandfather and my grandmother both passed that on to her, and their sense of adventure and their sense of strength, and then she passed that on to me, and my father as well, in his own very cool. My dad was my stay-at-home parent, by the way, and had a very big influence on me. But that you have to remember that however you need to instill that in yourself, if it hasn't been already, all those outside voices are wrong. Okay. Right. You need to be you, and you know what you can do. And just because you're too old, or you're too sick, or you're too female, or you're whatever. And I have more health problems than I literally, this is a true story. I had a life insurance company think that they had my age wrong because of all my health problems. They thought I was like in my 70s or 80s. They called me to get my correct birth date. Yeah. Wow. And it doesn't, you just keep on trucking, and you just keep going. So guys, if something is holding you back, whether it's the outside world or yourself, don't let it. Be you. So Sandra, I know that's your area of expertise.
Yeah, actually it's all inside.
Yes.
It's all inside. Everything starts with our thoughts, with our thinking. Right. And our biggest stumbling block is the thoughts up here. Who we believe we are. You know, if you have to believe in yourself, and when you believe in yourself, then everybody else picks up on that. Yeah. And conversely, if you don't believe in yourself, they pick up on that. So the place to start, this is an inside out world. The conditions never change first. It has to change inside first.
Yes.
You have to find a way to love every part of yourself. Every part of yourself.
Yeah.
And believe in yourself. And then you project that image to whoever you're talking to. And subconsciously, they're thinking, well, this person knows themselves better than I do. So if they believe they can, I guess they can. Or
right. And that's so true.
I'm going to trust your judgment.
Their discrimination will melt away. If you are confident, their discrimination, and everybody discriminates in some way, shape, or form in their brain, whether it's conscious or not, it will melt away. It will go away. And I said, Michaela and I, who was on earlier, who did the psychology segment, we've had this discussion. let's say you have a physical impairment, because we've had several viewers that have shared that they had that, or that they had crippling anxiety, or whatever. That's just a piece of you. It's no different than your finger. Your finger doesn't define you. Right. I'm not this little finger right here. I have all the rest of this. That is just one little piece. That is just one little tiny piece of who you are. Well, and it's
not even the essence of who you are.
No.
If you lose a hand, you say, I lost a hand. You don't say, I lost part of me. I didn't lose me. I lost part of my hand. That's not who you are in essence.
Right.
And it's discovering who you truly are. That's where your power lies.
Yeah.
And then it doesn't matter. Eleanor Roosevelt said, all the water in the world can't drown you unless you let it inside you. And she also said, what other people think of me is none of my business.
I love that quote. That's one of my favorite quotes.
It only matters what I think of me. My opinion
That's right.
is way more important than your opinion of me.
That's right. It's so true. And Foster, I mean, in your career, I'm sure you've experienced all kinds of craziness and people's opinions and all of this. And guys, first of all, I'm going to throw this right on out there. Foster is one of the shining examples of just breaking every box and all of that, every rule, all of that, and just goes for it. Just whatever the man went to an all women's college at one point. Okay. He did. And I mean, poor Foster, I'm sure it was so difficult for you.
23 years old, I had to twist my arm to do it, right?
Right. Yeah. I'm sure it was so traumatic for you. But the point is, you don't have to fit into the box. And so what's your advice with that, Foster? What's your take? I mean, you've had this wonderfully successful career. What's your feedback into all of this?
There was a time in my corporate career, which lasted a while, we put it that way, that I thought that I had to do what everybody else did. I had to follow the rules. Yeah, you got to follow the rules. Yeah. But we are uniquely made. And I think Sandra's gonna smile when I say this. We all have these gifts or something inside of us that's driving us in a direction, And if we don't entertain that, we'll never get out of the rut, the wheel rut, in order to do something.
Right.
Yeah, we crash a few times, or we think we crash. But when I crashed, I learned more about
failure is just it's just feedback.
Right.
Failed somewhere between 5,000 and 10,000 times in his pursuit of the electric light bulb. And when somebody asked him, well, how did you keep going with all those failures? He says, I never had a failure. That was just feedback. He was saying, no, not that way. Try another way.
This way. Yeah.
Hey, Sandra, you know what my big thing was? I went in my formative years, all the way up to probably I was about 21, 22. I was a huge introvert. I was absolutely afraid to speak in front of people.
And isn't that unbelievable? Knowing him now, and he's got he runs multiple groups, runs multiple shows, and you can't even fathom that now. You can't even.
The people
you can't even picture it.
Going, that Foster is the biggest liar.
Yeah, they're going.
Live with
false statements. They're saying lies you tell, Foster. Lies you tell.
Anybody in that little hometown where I'm from don't even know who I am now.
And that's the wonderful thing. Like when I take clients through the Dream Builder program and they're pursuing their goal or their dream or whatever it is, achieving the dream is wonderful. Don't get me wrong. But even more wonderful than achieving the dream is who you become in the process of achieving the dream. Who you discover yourself to be. Wow. I had no idea I could do that.
Right.
Like you were saying about the folks in your hometown, who you've become in the process of pursuing that dream that's the biggest gift of all.
100%. 100%.
Baby boy.
Pardon me?
I'm still Ruth Williams as a baby boy.
You know, right? I tell you, I've had more epiphanies, to your point, Sandra, more epiphanies going through running a business and starting a show. And now I'm, God help Congress, going to run for office in a couple of years. I think because you know, when you see need, you just sometimes have to jump in. And I think that you just learn so much about yourself, and it changes who you are professionally, and you shouldn't be afraid of that. You should embrace it, and you should run towards it. And one of the things for me, I've been told by other recruiters when they see how I price and how I do, they go, "You're insane. What's wrong with you?" And I said, I said, I know what I'm doing. I said, and I am catering my business to a certain clientele and to the people I want to be helping, because I'm doing this because I love it. I'm not here to try to be a millionaire. I'm not any of that. I do want to make money, don't get me wrong, because I want to take care of my family and all of that, but I'm here to help. And that's my goal. Even with this show, I've had people go, "Oh, you can make this so profitable." And I said, "Why? I'm here to help people." So we're putting that back and getting the scholarships and doing stuff like that. But you learn who you are going through these kind of processes, and connecting to the right people and forming those bonds. You know, like my soul is fed doing this and talking to you and Foster and Anna and Craig and Trevor and all the other people that were here.
When you find what you love doing, it gives you so much life. You know, the monetary reward is nice. You know, it's sort of a confirmation that you're giving service. But the biggest reward, in my opinion, is the internal reward. How it makes me feel. I mean, I love doing what I'm doing because of the transformation that I see in my clients. Not for the money. It's not that. It's when they say, you know, a client recently said that her daughter said, "I don't know what it is that you're doing, but it's because of your work with Sandra. Keep doing it. You are different. You're good." And the ripple effects. You know, I worked with one gal who was an educator at our local women's prison, and the ripple.
That's interesting.
The changes in her rippling out to these women inmates. You know, I mean, that's why I do this stuff.
And to that point, don't you have something that you wanted to announce to our audience?
Yes, absolutely. For the first 10 people that contact me, either on my email, which I think you left all that information, right? It's Sandra@InnerRadianceRevealed.com, or by going to my website. The first 10 people, I will give you a free 1 hour, I call it a discovery session. In this hour, I help you get clear on where you are right now and the challenges that are the biggest challenges you're facing, where you would absolutely love to be. And then we talk about the next best steps that'll take you in the direction of your dream.
And guys, this is invaluable. And by the way, her contact information is in the comments. And this, for a lot of you that are asking us all these questions and you're trying to find your focus, wait, which direction am I pointing? Do this. Go over there. Go that way and talk to Sandra. Seriously.
Clarity is power. You know, if you are really clear on what you want, then the universe can give that to you. But if you have a fuzzy idea of what you want, it's like, you know, I want a nice house.
You're lost.
I can't even help. Catherine, I can't even help.
You know?
What is a nice house? Where is it? What does it look like? How much is it? You know?
Exactly. I want my perfect job. Okay, so what it'd be like giving Amazon.com in order. Well, send me a dress that I'd like. I would help if you told me the size.
Cool. Yeah.
You know, there's details to work with. You know.
Yeah.
The universe wants to give it all to us. The universe has no inclination to withhold anything, but it can't give us something that we aren't clear on.
Yeah.
100%. And
clarity is paramount. That's the
100%.
One key is to get clear. And the only question you want to ask yourself is, what would I love? Not what do I think I can have? What do I think I deserve? What do my friends and family think I should want or do? No. Let them do their own
smile
dream.
on our face.
What would you love? Because when you tap into that and you commit to that and you fall in love with that, then as William Murray once said, then providence moves too. When one commits themselves, then providence moves too. And all
100%
things start to happen. The right people that you need to meet, boom, pop into your life. The needed funding drops in like out of the blue.
Mm-hmm.
The universe starts doing backflips in service of your dream, but only if you're committed. You can't put
100%.
And say, well, I'll see how this works. Doesn't work that way.
It doesn't work. Well, we're going to have to wrap up, but 100%. And guys, connect to Sandra. Take advantage of this beautiful opportunity that she's giving you. Connect to her on LinkedIn. Connect to her. We dropped her email. Email her. Reach out. She's a wonderful, wonderful spirit and a great asset. Definitely connect to her.
One more thing. I have a free Power of a Vision workshop coming up next Tuesday in the evening. It's free. And they can find more information and register for that on my website too.
Awesome. Phenomenal. Thank you so much. Have a wonderful day, Sandra. We really appreciated you being here.
I really appreciate it.
Thank you. Oh, and send me that Jim Carrey quote. I want that Jim Carrey quote. So you've got to send that to me.
I'm going to say that on the radio today.
All right.
Thanks.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
So guys, again, please, first I wanted to say, connect to everybody you've seen today. Justin Radecka, great professional, very inspirational, very smart guy, has some great services to offer, things like that. Hollis, she'll bend over backwards for you, work with you. Sandra, Joel, Trevor, all of them kind of have their special unique, I'm forgetting people, Michaela, Craig, all of us. Oh yeah. And then these two goofballs that have been sitting here staring at you for 4 hours. And then don't forget too, Foster also has his very exciting Who You Know job networking show starting in about an hour.
In about an hour, a little over an hour, yeah. That's
right. And so definitely tune in, watch he and the guys. Trevor's on it. Mark's an interesting guy. He hasn't been on the show yet. Gonna get him next. And check him out. Check out Craig's upcoming events. He even gave us a discount code, which was, you can go to his website, the TalentNet website, and it's Path Links, but it's misspelled PATHLYNKS. And check that out. All the guys here, a lot of these people have shows. Anna has a phenomenal show, and she's an absolute delight to connect to. Keep yourself healthy. Connect to Michaela and ask for pictures of her at Maslow and connect with Misty Leiter. Do some of her yoga sessions and connect with her and get some good advice. Is keeping yourself healthy. Great guys, and don't forget we're offering. And Misty I just got the word. Misty is offering 10 free yoga classes. So definitely connect to her. We'll drop her information here in the comments. Definitely connect to Misty. Get in on her awesome yoga classes. I know I'll definitely be taking advantage of that as well. Except I'll probably have to pay her because I'm the host. I don't think I should get the free stuff. But but definitely reach out to her. We're all here to help you guys. And the bottom line is you're not alone. Okay. You're not. We're all here. Connect with me. Connect with Foster. Don't forget, I do have the 2 free resume giveaways. If you or somebody you know needs one, contact with me. Tell me that that's what you're interested in, and we'll get you that information. We have the Scrum Master certifications. If you or someone you know wants, contact me. I'll tell you how to enter in for that. That giveaway will be happening on the 25th. We do have an international show coming up on the 22nd. I'm super excited about that. Yeah, we have guests from all over the world. Coming in and
I'm USA and I'm there.
Yeah, you gotta tune into that one. It's gonna be quite the show. And thank you so much to Foster, who has
welcome. Thanks
gracious, been a great co-host.
Hey, put a smile on my face if I can help somebody.
That's right. And guys, we're here for you. If you need something, if you are feeling disenfranchised, anything, connect to us. Even if you just need to reach out and go, guys, I'm deflated in my job search today. Reach out. We are here for you.
Yeah.
We will support you.
When you reach out, guys, don't just reach out on LinkedIn. Say something. Tell us something. Make communication with us, and you will be surprised what Catherine and I are called to do.
Yes, you just never know, what can come out of it. And check out all of Foster. He has like 1 million groups and shows, guys. Y'all just don't even know. I can't even count all of them. But go connect with him. Go connect. He doesn't even know. Go connect with him and get involved with all of his awesome networking shows. And definitely check out Who You Know. And check out Search For You. Check out our website, careerlaunch2020.com. It has a lot of opportunities. And we thank everybody. And Foster, thank you again. You're the best. And we're going to say adios, guys. We'll see you on the 22nd of July.
Absolutely.
Keep your chin up, guys. Absolutely, Foster.
We got a lot to keep our chins up about. We're not going anywhere.
Absolutely. Thank you guys so much. Talk to you later.